Welcome back. Love Boat Project, episode 10.
This is the last
I am
time
your host, Mike. This is your co-host, Mike, and this is our good friend, Buddy. Welcome aboard, Buddy. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here.
How are you this evening, sir? Mike?
I'm good, Mike. I'm excited that we're in double figures now. It feels like just a short time ago we were doing the first episode, and now we have 10 in the bank.
Yeah, 10. I like being at double digits.
We're only 240 away from being done.
Right there. We're right there. It's within grasp. Well, we're very happy to have you as a guest this week, Buddy. This week, this episode, one of the main storylines is about a chef. Our good friend Buddy is a chef. So before we hear about your chefdom, currently is a chef. Buddy, have you ever been on a cruise before?
Negative. Nope.
No. Do you know of anybody that is a cruise ship chef?
No, not currently. I worked with a girl once at a restaurant down on like 10th and Walnut. I worked there for a little bit. She did like Hawaiian cruises. I don't know if they were cruises, more like private chef stuff. She liked it. It was cool. But she was young and she was hot.
I had this note I wanted to ask you, because we had this conversation last week too. There was a plumber on it. He was the cruise plumber, and we were trying to decide if cruise plumber is a top tier job in the plumbing industry or not. So would you think cruise chef is a top tier job or not?
Yeah.
After seeing
sure.
this episode.
It is?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do you say that?
I mean, it's like because people have to eat.
Yeah.
So
well,
someone has to figure out what it is they're going to eat.
Yeah.
Is it on par with like a nice hotel restaurant chef? Is it the same level? Would you say?
I would imagine
something like that, like a nice.
Yeah. I would imagine so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, spoiler: Chef Borgia. At some point he's in cabana wear. Like he is definitely enjoying the spoils of the cruise more than the plumber guy was last week.
Yeah, no, or he definitely had like 3 suitcases of outfits.
It was all chef wise. Like he wasn't living the gimmick. Like he didn't walk in as a chef. He had like one.
No, he didn't.
Was his outfit when he left the ship the same as when he got on the ship?
Yeah,
it was very similar.
Yeah. So like he's not a lot of like changing of different, but I bet he's got like 50 pairs of chef whites in there.
He had that.
So what about his outfit when he came into the kitchen on the strike night? Was that the same outfit?
I think so. It was definitely the same color.
He had that stupid hat on.
And when he was walking through the hallway, I think the hat may have changed. I think he had more of like a fun fedora.
Did he have a hat on every shot?
He had that like Andy Capp hat.
He definitely was wearing a hat every scene. He had a hat.
I wonder what that's about.
You're not going to see Al Marinaro sans chapeau.
Not on this show.
No.
Nope.
No. You want to see that? You watch some HBs.
Tuesday nights?
Right.
No idea.
Tuesday. All right. So we're going to talk about episode 10. We're still in season 1. Name of the episode, Dear Beverly, The Strike and Special Delivery.
Just mailed them in this week. The titles.
Department of Literal.
Yeah.
We're on a boat of love. Like, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Air date would be December 3rd, 1977, as we always do. We want to know what was on. As always on CBS, the Carol Burnett show Juggernaut continues. And on NBC, there was a movie. It's so funny because it's like there's only 3 networks. So we're already talking about the one thing.
Right.
It's another movie. Okay. The movie's called Deadly Game.
Oh, yes.
Right. A military convoy is transporting something apparently for disposal. They pass by Sheriff Abel Marsh's town, and they are passing by property that's owned by Amy Franklin, who is the girlfriend of Abel's deputy, Malcolm. Okay. Before they know it, everything around the property is uninhabitable. The army returns to clean things up and make restitution. But there's one nagging question. Was this an accident? Or was this deliberate? That is something Abel is most interested in finding out. Starring Andy Griffith and James Cromwell.
Andy Griffith? How young is James Cromwell in that thing?
Reading that, you would never think it would be. Oh, it's an Andy Griffith vehicle. Definitely. There's no hot dogs. There's no lawyer. There's no Southern. Like nothing.
What role does Andy Griffith play?
I got there when I saw it was Andy Griffith. I couldn't stop laughing, and I moved on.
He's got to be the main guy's
I would
property
think.
owner, right?
It's got to be.
And
He's got to be Sheriff
deputy,
Marsh.
I guess. Yeah.
Has to be.
So what are they just driving around like nuclear waste, and they spill it all over the property intentionally?
I mean, it's the late. I don't know.
What a wild movie! These Saturday night movies. To your point, a couple weeks ago, why is anybody watching Love Boat? These movies are amazing every week.
But this is just. I don't know.
I
don't know.
It's pre.
I mean, I was 3 years old, so I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't.
People's viewing habits were. My parents are. I don't know. Yeah.
I wonder if people just kind of kept on it. Like you would turn on a network, right? If say I liked ABC News, do they just keep on ABC? Keep it on ABC all night, just because it's more convenient? Like we're an ABC family.
Well, because you would have to get up to change the channel.
Right.
That's true.
And there were only 3 channels, like you said.
But I wonder if that network choice was based on like their favorite local or national news program.
Sure, it helps. And plus, if you're an old, this Love Boat is way too racy for your blood.
Oh, so far, yeah, they don't want to.
It's either the movie or Carol Burnett. And if you're not a fan of comedy, I'm watching.
You just well, you know what?
Watching Deadly Package or whatever that was called.
If you're not a fan of comedy, I'm glad you said that. It's a great segue. You could have seen the Flyers beat the Colorado Rockies 6-3, or
take that, Devils.
Ooh.
That's right. Or you could have
on their march to the Cup.
That's right. That's right. We're gonna win so many in a row.
Yeah.
Or the Sixers lose to the Rockets 116-120. But don't forget baseball.
A real team.
I wanted to find just any baseball. Give me one baseball story for December.
What's December?
This day. Yeah, one story. The White Sox signed free agent Ron Schuler.
Oh, huge. Huge move.
That's why the White Sox. Is that like the third year of free agency or something?
Not a starter, by the way. He is not a starter, and is a
that's a good point. But there's not even really free agency at that point.
Mm-mm.
No,
so Ron Schuler really not bringing in the money. Yeah.
So I'm gonna get to the episode summary. Advice columnist Beverly Blanchard neglects husband Russ and drives him to another woman. Meryl. We're on a first name basis now. Meryl wages war with Chef Antonio Borga. Julie's friend Jeff Smith, which P.S. is the most vanilla name ever. Like 2-syllable first name. Like come on.
Yeah. That really ended up being a harbinger of the entire plot line. That imagination. So
I think you already know how I feel about that. Just is separated from wife Gail, but doesn't know she's on board carrying his child. All right. Fair enough. So let's get to the guest stars, and then let's get on the boat. First star, Ava Gabor, Hungarian actress and socialite. Starred in Green Acres. I'm not really familiar with Green Acres.
Me either.
I know the theme song.
Our second Green Acres.
Yeah, the theme song.
Right. The housekeeper remember, she was in like a lot of Green Acres episodes, we found out.
Really? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right. This is our second Green Acres person, but yeah, besides the theme song, I've not seen anything. I think Eva Gabor is a better actor than her sister. I thought she was pretty good.
Too.
Jaja?
She was more like interesting fact about old Ava.
She had a lot of words.
No, yeah, definitely. She was. So that Green Acres show was on from 65 to 71. It was canceled in 1971. And here's the weird thing. It was canceled in the CBS quote unquote rural purge. This was a policy that CBS basically adhered to in 71 to get rid of the network's rural-based TV shows. Green Acres got the axe, and the Beverly Hillbillies got the axe.
So two
Kind of a
shows.
weird reason to cancel a show, right?
So this was CBS's version of driving a truck with military grade nuclear weapons and then dumping it into the rural TV landscape.
And Andy Griffiths is eating a hot dog, just perplexed at the whole thing and whistling with a young Ron Howard. Leslie Nielsen, Canadian, by the way. I did not know that.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Like we all know Leslie Nielsen. What a Canadian treasure he was. Appeared in more than 100 movies, 150 TV shows. Leslie Nielsen.
Fantastic guest appearance.
He really was good.
Great. He was great. He got right to the point. This dude was just all about getting it on.
Dude, Russ Blanchard won the day. Like he didn't want to go on this vacation. He didn't even complain. He was like, "I'm registering this one complaint, and now I'm gonna be over here."
I told you. Hey, and by the way, carry my suitcase, just like that short gentleman did a few episodes ago.
The cool thing was this is still a couple years before Airplane, so he's literally just a serious actor.
He was a serious actor.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. It's great. I just love Leslie Nielsen. I really do. He's just Canadian. I felt like he was ours, and now I feel sort of.
Yeah, that's surprising. He doesn't even out or anything. Yeah,
no out or
No.
sorry.
Boots. I gotta say, the one thing I did love about him, I loved his pants. I wish that I could wear my pants that high.
Oh, like he's up like nipple height.
Yeah, they're up there. Like
it's weird. Because then if it looks like you have if you have like a little belly or whatever, who doesn't? Then it just looks like whoa. Like you have that Chris Christie thing going on, like when his softball uniform. That's 10 on that sort of thing stale. But this is more like a 3, but it's still a weird.
Yeah. He really was well dressed He really was well dressed the whole cruise though, because we've seen guys that like get dapper, but then their dress down is terrible. Like even when he was canoodling, like he had it together. So.
Yeah,
I wonder if that's more.
He was like casual crisp.
Yes.
Casual crisp. It's almost like
he irons his polo shirt.
But that's like old school. Like I don't think that's really of the 70s as much of that's like more of the 50s based on, you know what I mean? Like that was.
Well,
if you
and
watch
I think
like a White Christmas, everything's all pressed and everything's pulled up.
The Blanchards had money. Like they established that pretty. The Blanchards clearly have money. So.
Absolutely. We're moving on to Al Malinaro as Chef Antonio Borga played Al DeVecchio on Happy Days.
Yeah.
Officer Murray Greshler on The Odd Couple. I like The Odd Couple an awful lot as well. Here's a fun fact. I like to find a fun fact. In 1987, Molinaro and fellow Happy Days cast member Anson Williams opened a chain of diners called Big Al's.
Oh.
Not successful.
Oh.
Not successful.
What year was that?
87.
Yeah.
87.
Maybe kind of trying to capitalize on the fame there.
I mean,
when did Happy Days end?
Potts ate like 83 or 84.
And then Joni loved Chachi. And then, but I thought didn't Pat Morita replace Al on Happy Days?
Vice versa.
Oh, vice versa.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of...
I did some research too. So.
Good I appreciate that, dude.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of, both Potsy Weber, Anson Williams, and Pat Morita are coming up on episodes.
In the same episode?
We're going to get Happy Days crazy here pretty soon.
Oh, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
This is already our second Happy Day. This is our second Happy Day, right?
Do we need to do a separate podcast?
We do have Scott Baio. Yeah. Next one is Pamela Franklin as Gail Smith. Number 1. She's British. Who knew?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Born in Yokohama, Japan. She had kind of an interesting growing up. Just tons of TV appearances. We know how that goes. Let's stop messing around. We know what the main event is.
She had that vibe about her. I could see that.
There's a TV show that I loved growing up, and that TV show was called Spencer for Hire.
Yes.
And his friend Hawk. Let me just tell you, I love Spencer for Hire. Like, love. So when I saw this guy, I mean, I almost got out of my chair and started cheering when I saw him on the screen. Let me just tell you a little bit about my friend Robert Urich here, okay? Number one.
Urich.
Bobby Urich. He was on the crime series Vegas, Spencer for Hire, obviously. Here, fun facts here. Went to Florida State University on a football scholarship, and he played backup center. FSU football scholarship. And he went into acting.
He was a pretty big guy.
A different game. Yeah, I don't know how tall he was. I mean, I know he was big, but he moved to California to follow his dream of acting based on the advice given to him from another famous FSU alumni,
Burt Reynolds.
Mr. Burt Reynolds. Yes, that's what got him going. That's not even the fun fact. Here's the bonus extra fun fact. He later starred as Captain Jim Kennedy III in the short-lived spin-off series Love Boat: The Next Wave in 1998 for 25 episodes.
Oh, I kind of remember that.
I kind of do too.
I don't at all. 1998.
Yeah, that's late in the game for a Love Boat.
So Urich,
I was not watching a lot of TV in 1998.
No.
So Urich and Leslie Nielsen come back multiple times over the next couple seasons as different characters. In fact, I think they're both on this season, which is weird to have such a quick turnaround.
In the same season as different characters?
Yeah.
Because they're in the can before the original one aired. So it's like, how did they, or what would make them think that, we need to double up on old Bobby Urich this season?
Like we know it happens because I think we've talked about a couple other guest stars that do come back relatively soon. I will be curious to see if they go in a completely different direction. Like they didn't do anything with Urich in this one. He was kind of just
it could have been anybody. It could have been a cardboard cutout of this.
So I'll be curious to see if they give him a little more to do next time. Yeah.
So
it wasn't really until the end where he really started to like exhibit some chops.
Yeah,
he just anything.
Sleeping. Yeah,
he was just tall in this episode, basically.
Yeah,
that's it. Just don't stop breathing and just be tall. All right, let's get on the boat. Here we go. So, cookware gets wheeled aboard the ship, and Julie explains to Isaac and Gopher that since their usual chef has appendicitis,
R.I.P.
He's being temporarily replaced by Chef Antonio Borgia.
Nobody. Why would this guy need to bring on all new equipment to the boat?
It has to be episode worthy.
Yeah,
like, he can't just sneak in there. Was he bringing his own pots and pans and stuff?
Oh, he had pots, he had pans, he had strainers, he had a bunch of stuff.
Well, let me ask you, as a chef, okay, say you're a chef, you're going to some new job.
There were pots that were like still in the plastic wrap.
Would you bring your own pot? Like, do you bring your own knives generally to a new job, or
for sure, I would bring my own knives.
Pots? No, right?
No.
Okay.
I would have my knife roll with.
Fair enough.
This guy's a diva, right?
Knives and different.
He's coming in like Liberace of
he's
chefs.
A real diva because he doesn't even introduce himself. Like he's just like Borgia, Chef Borgia.
Like I'm supposed to have heard of you. Who are you?
You're filling.
Yeah,
you're literally filling. Yeah. So, and then let's make.
I don't know, but the whole chef thing in 1977 could have been different. The way that they presented themselves. Maybe. I know the industry was completely different. Chefs,
it was all drugged up and crazy.
There's an ego to it, right?
I get
you have to have an ego, or else.
Our last chef had such a small ego that he woke up at 3 a.m. to deliver a cake and put a hat on.
Mm-hmm.
So
he had PJs and a hat.
And now he has appendicitis. This is probably why he has appendicitis. They're waking him up at 3 a.m.
Wow, exactly.
Well, he's committed to the job.
He is. I love it. And Mike, you started to say it here. So Chef Borga says a comment to Julie about being way too skinny to attract a mate. And immediately I'm going, oh, no. You're saying that to the wrong person, meaning Julie's crazy. Like Julie's her self-esteem is so low. And I base that on like her relationship with the married dude, the way she was, going to hook up with that over 60 tour guide. Like, don't tell Julie's going to throw herself off the ship. Like you can't tell Julie that kind of stuff.
Do you think that comment then immediately gets her hot to try for Jeff Smith? Because she's on him right away when he gets on the boat.
But that's a familiar thing too.
They say that, but again, this is...
Well, she didn't know he was divorced, remember?
This is like 3 times that she's jumped a guy.
Yeah. You know what? Good point.
On the boat.
She jumped on him like a spider monkey. She didn't even know he was divorced. Or he's not even divorced. Like she didn't even bother. She was just like, let me jump on you like some sort of marsupial. Like, what do you...
Well, we've established that Julie isn't really that stringent about married guys.
No. That's true. Heart of gold, that Julie. Heart of gold. Just looking out for you, Jay. Woo! The chef promises that he can fatten her up in no time. Julie assures him he's going to greatly enjoy feeding the masses. And Chef Boers just says quite loudly, and a jackass for a captain.
Yep.
Yeah, he just like, it just comes out like just right away.
Yeah,
like,
no wasting time.
Like,
just
huh?
Well, I wonder.
Makes me wonder. I want to know about the backstory.
It's got to be more than
immediately. I'm like, what's the backstory?
Yeah, like what did this guy do? And I'm like, uh-oh. But it's funny because I'm like, when you start to see Captain Stubing approaching, and I'm like, oh, it's about to go down. Like, no, you didn't.
Yeah. He knew. The captain knew that he was
did.
Borga.
Honestly, the captain is the one who should, like, he was the one kind of being a D to this chef.
Oh,
in my opinion.
Totally comes off as a.
Well, and I'm saying that based on what he says. He says, Captain Stubing, who's standing close enough to overhear it, says, "What did you say?" Chef responds by telling the crew that he has nothing but disdain for their captain. And the reason is he once added ketchup to his bouillabaisse. So there's a reason right there that he's pissed off at that captain. But why did the captain... Did he truly do that?
This is a tenuous grudge.
Plus, something else is happening here.
So here's my thing too. If he knows he's getting onto this ship to go for how long do they go for? Like a week?
10 days.
10 days. He knows he already doesn't like the captain. Why did he take the job? You're probably right.
That's the thing. I feel like I'm going to end up being a Stubing defender on this one.
Really?
Borgia seems like a real pain in the ass.
Oh, he's total. He makes a terrible first impression.
And buddy, I think that's why he's taken this job, is because he's probably blackballed himself from a lot of jobs because of his. I mean, he goes on strike. He's been working like 2 days.
Yeah, so, I mean, and really, then
yeah, and you're fighting over ketchup.
But if you're in a situation like that, where it's like, just gonna go to my cabin and not make the dinner rolls.
Yeah, they should have thrown him off the boat. You really want to put some skin in the game here.
Like what?
All the ketchup bottles.
Well, Stubing said to him, he adds that the ketchup did nothing to improve the horrendous taste of his cooking. And informs his crew that he plans on eating TV dinners. And I think, doesn't he send Gopher out to get more TV dinners? Which is funny
because eventually Al Marinaro becomes a TV dinner spokesman.
I didn't think about that. What, like a Hungry Man or something like one of those?
Encore. Yeah, Encore.
Yeah, he was always trying to go to your house and eat dinner with you.
Yep.
Really? I remember that.
I remember those.
They're kind of creepy. He's like standing in the freezer aisle and he's like, "I'll be at your house at dinner at 5." And it's like,
well, nobody's letting you in, bro. What?
Not that lonely. Like, just because I'm buying a TV dinner does not mean I'm a sad, lonely person.
And maybe this is a dumb question, fellas. Buddy, can you clarify what bouillabaisse is? I think I know, but I don't know if I really know.
It's a French seafood stew. I think I'm 99.5% sure it's like a lyonnaise, like because it's on the coast.
Gotcha.
So it's like tomatoes, saffron, fennel, whatever seafood you can dig up. Usually the shellfish.
Oh, so
Sounds
ketchup is
delightful.
not a.
Yeah, why
Ketchup
would you
is
put
not
it?
It can be really really
It
good.
sounds like a fruta de mare
Yeah.
kind of thing with like that sounds delicious. Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying is why did the captain do
It's
that?
usually served with like toasted bread.
It sound look for all to sop it up. It sounds
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah, it's really good. I make a good one sometime.
I would like to put some bouillabaisse. Travel agent Jeff Smith, 2-syllable name, saunters aboard the ship, kisses Julie on the cheek, and tells her that he's taking another cruise on the Pacific Princess because he's putting together a holiday package for the airlines. Which, what?
You don't need to
Okay.
go. You don't need to go on the cruise to put together the package. You just call Julie and be like, "Hey, what are you guys doing for the holidays?"
It's like, couldn't you just get a brochure and
Yeah.
take it back with you? Like, what do you?
Yeah.
Well, you're not taking video. Like, what are you
You
doing?
don't need to be on this cruise for 10 days.
He's like, a boat and water
Yeah.
and more water. Like, what? What are we doing?
This is like Gail Smith threw him out.
He is over it.
He is over it.
He's
over
ready
it.
to move on.
Mailing it in.
It's not what it used to be.
No, it's not. It's not.
a necessary job. It's not what it used to be.
That's it. He walks off in such a dejected fashion that Julie can't help wondering, like, what's going on with the glumness. She kind of wonders this out loud to Gopher. He used to be such a live wire. Gopher said he heard in the grapevine that Jeff recently split with his wife. Julie's kind of looking at it, and then we get to is that a like a or a and now we clearly see the chain of command. Julie was like, buzz off, Gopher.
Yeah. I told you,
So now,
Julie.
you're right.
Gopher and Isaac work for Julie. I'm convinced of that now.
Well, yeah, I mean, chain of command. Probably.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But so, soon.
What is Gopher? Is he just the busboy? Is he a waiter?
It's like a concierge, sort of.
Yeah,
thing.
we haven't looked up purser
yeah,
yet.
okay.
We're holding out the Google to find out what a purser is. But
We want something to be excited for, moving forward. I gotta think it's almost like a concierge sort of deal.
Well, this has really nothing to do with this episode, but we are now 10 in, and
Right.
Gopher has not gotten anything to do.
Not one
Gopher's
Gopher
not had an
storyline.
episode of any kind. We know nothing about Gopher personally. Everybody else
We've seen his stomach.
everybody else has hooked up at this point.
That's it.
Or at least had
really?
illusions of hooking up. Yeah.
I can't see him. He's the
I'm just
comic
saying,
relief.
He's gotten
though.
nothing from Gopher in terms of like an actual off-boat thing.
There's no depth to the character either. It's more
No,
just
there's
like
not. He
funny
moves-
or like
he
I
moves
see someone
plot.
cheating. Yeah.
He just moves plot. Yeah.
He's a busybody too, by the way. Just want to say that. Right, wrong, or indifferent. He's a nosy McGee. Just want to say that.
Oh yeah,
Him and
he
Isaac
totally
both.
is.
As
As evidenced by what we get into when the whole
yeah,
when Ava's or Beverly is doing her speech and they
it's not the first time Isaac's witnessed
Yeah.
some tomfoolery and reported back about it.
Isaac's got years on the street. Yeah.
I bet you he has so many stitches. He's a snitch from all of his snitches. Two
No
elderly
kneecaps.
women, no kneecaps. Two elderly women. I love a running joke on these shows that goes across, and it's I don't know. This is one of my favorite parts of the episode. Two elderly women are gushing, at Beverly Blanchard about reading her advice column. Blah, blah, blah. Gopher does his best to steer her away. And her husband, Russ, poor Russ, with his pants pulled up to his pectorals, is trying to steer away from the fan. I'm sorry. He looks visibly irked.
Yeah. He's doing a Mike Roberts thing about 10 years ago, mope in the corner. I'm not mad, whatever, do whatever you want.
No, I'm not ready to go.
No,
You ready to
it's
go?
fine, whatever.
Oh, no, you're not ready to go?
Yes.
Okay.
So the old ladies, who I agree with you, Mike, they hold up well. They're actually
So funny.
probably my favorite part on the second watch, just in terms of didn't like this as much the second time, but they were really good. You know who they remind me of? It's a combination of Stadler and Waldorf.
Okay.
Clearly, from the Muppets.
Sure.
And it's the old ladies who used to do the Denny's commercials. And it would be like Lenny's, Denny's. It's like those. That's what they are. It's a combination of those two, and they're really excellent.
Because there's like a certain amount of feistiness that's sort of comedic when you get to these older ladies. It's what's kind of.
And they don't even give them names. At the end of it, it's sister.
No, it doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter.
Sister one.
Two elderly.
Are
women.
these ladies on multiple episodes?
No, I don't think so.
No, they're not. They're not.
They should be though. They should just be part of the boat.
But like, are you saying like that character is like typecast for every episode? Like, there's always kind of like
not always,
not as much as I would have thought. So we have this thought that you could make a lot of hay out of just recording 1 week, just recording a bunch of like reaction shots from people or a couple zingers and just dropping them in. It would really build out the boat. These people could be on the boat every few months and then making some comment, like just like a quick cut or something like that. But yeah, they didn't give him a name. They didn't even give him a name.
Mm-mm. In a way, I think it's kind of better because I think it enhances the comedy. There's no backstory to anything. All you're seeing is these feisty old ladies smacking dudes with purses. Like it's just like all day long.
So were they attached? So this was one of the things you guys were talking about in one of your earlier shows was the different writers for every episode. So this one had the 3.
Yeah.
So were those ladies interjected into every different storyline?
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? Because you're right.
Or
This is the rare episode where you have a runner that goes through like a through line. I noticed at the end credits that they had like story editor or something. So there must have been for this more of an oversee.
Yeah.
You know, so
it's smart.
We haven't had that much.
No.
In terms of like crossover.
No. You don't. They're not even in the same shot. Like, you know what I mean? It's not even they're following one that goes behind the other, and then it's always just like boom.
It's pretty clean.
Yeah,
and maybe because it's 3 directors. Maybe they have to.
I'm still convinced Radar wasn't at dinner last week with Phil Silvers. Like, you know, I think they split it up like that much. So good point, buddy. Like that's actually a rare episode through line, which is good. I like that. It makes it feel more like a full episode as opposed to vignettes. You know?
I agree. There's something to link them, like you know, like a feather blowing in the wind and lands on these other people.
In American Beauty.
Exactly.
It's like, here's these 2 old ladies just roaming around the boat,
sassy
all
ladies
up in everyone's business.
You go on a vacation, girl.
Criticizing everyone.
Everything. Whatever.
Well, Gopher tells these old ladies put a pin in it until Beverly's lecture on Sunday, and he ushers her further away. He tells Russ, "Hey, you got to step off too. You got to back up, Mister." And Beverly apologizes, and Russ explains that he's Mr. Blanchard.
Okay,
he should have just picked him up and like marked his territory right there.
Can we put a pin in Gopher being introduced to Mr. Blanchard for later?
Okay.
Thank you.
Gotcha. Pin has been placed.
Thank you.
Noted.
We are on. A doctor encounters a pregnant passenger. I don't even know what's going to happen next when I'm seeing this, and I'm thinking, "Oh, this is not good." Because I don't think Doc views it as a pregnant. You know what? I don't want to say that. That's a terrible thing that I thought, but I just was like, oh,
it was a weird twist of the like their lines. Like he came in, like he was hitting on her
clearly,
and then he was the doctor, and then he's kind of sort of not hitting on her for the remainder of the show. That whole story was weird, man.
For a while, I thought they were trying, because Doc's had some little creepy, even for the 70s storylines here the last few weeks.
Well, he comes across as a creepy guy. And this is just so like I watched this episode. I watched another episode, which would have been episode 8.
Yeah.
and he just comes off as like a real creeper.
Yeah.
Well, the
And so I
hairstyle
thought
doesn't
maybe they
help
were
either.
doing like a redemption thing for him, but then he sex bombs the chick at the end.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no redemption.
yeah.
Like, so,
Just weird.
It's like hit you with it at the end. It's like,
yeah.
whoop,
Don't worry.
all right,
Doc
guess
hasn't
Doc
turned
had
over
to get
new leaf.
his in the end.
Interesting
Fingers
thing.
crossed.
Interesting thing when they meet Doc and the pregnant lady. Mike, I don't know if you picked up on this. Doc's like, hold on, let me get your room assignment. And he just grabs a clipboard that's just like laying on the counter. So at this point now, security is so lax that not only do you not need really much to get in, but they're just leaving all the ID stuff
Right.
around. So
Right.
it's just like a loose clipboard. Like
It's
when they
just
would
there's-
hang menus at restaurants when you're standing in line.
You know what? I didn't hear one bark of a security dog the entire episode. I just want
They
to say
probably
that
had to get
right
rid of
now.
the security dog. After last week, they
You
probably
don't
had to
hear
get
that
rid of
dog.
the security dogs.
That dog
So
took a long jump into a deep pool.
you ain't gonna see him no more.
Never again. Sorry, buddy.
The whole clipboard check-in thing is like,
What we said before, it's like what no one's pulling out a wallet. So the only assumption
It's
sort of
nothing.
that I make is like maybe there's a security thing outside before you even get onto the ship. Like there would have to be, right? I would think. So
into
maybe they're
that,
just
like,
like,
the security
that
dogs are like,
tunnel thing.
I don't know, or maybe before
Because I had to
the other
ask,
side.
Tanya. I was like, "What's this tunnel thing that is connected to the boat?" And she's like, "Oh, that's how everyone gets on." Like,
Yeah.
okay.
But
I
I
mean,
don't know if
remember,
it's
we
like
didn't
that
tunnel,
or if
but-
it's like, yeah. But I don't know if it's like just when you walk from the gate to the plane.
Right.
It could be
Right.
something.
Yeah. That's
Like
kind
I'm
of what
thinking
I
it has to be
associated with.
something. Like
Well,
who knows? But it's so weird.
Along the same lines of the questions is early in the episode, but we've already passed it.
Right.
Gopher and Julie are standing there before Jeff Smith shows up, and a couple passengers walk by and they say, "Welcome aboard." They don't check them in or anything.
No.
No, none of that.
So in theory,
Only
would
the
be
people
like-
that are like on the show.
right? It would almost be like you go through TSA and then Gopher and Julie are the gate, which I guess is possible.
As like greeters,
Well,
Yeah.
like
think
welcome
about
to your
this.
flight.
Think
Yeah.
about this too, right? Let's imagine you're a crew member. It doesn't have to be Doc in this situation, and a person comes up, doesn't have to be pregnant. It could be man or woman, whatever. And they go, "I just want to get my room number," right? And they go, "Okay, what's your last name?" And they go, "Smith." Immediately, I'm going,
Yeah.
"You're full of crap." Like,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna look down and pick it. Like, you're full of bananas. There's no way that's your name. I'm just saying it's such a generic. There's no
there's like
cross check.
40
There's no
Smiths.
anything.
Like,
That's
how
what
am
I'm saying, like,
I could be in somebody else's room.
when they could just go, "Can I see your?" I don't know.
Here's your confirmation
So
number.
Lucy They
Here's
didn't
your
have, they didn't
confirmation
have to have
number.
passports in the 70s. I wouldn't imagine, to take a trip to Mexico, or I don't know. It's just so loosey goosey. I'm kind of jealous. Like if it is that loosey goosey, like that must have been. I bet you it was. You really took it for granted because you didn't know it was loosey goosey. It was normal, but
That's
it was
why
just so.
that's why everybody's getting some on this boat.
I mean, people got mad in the 70s
Yeah,
that they
I
had
agree,
to
Mike.
like that they made seatbelts mandatory. People were like, "Over my dead body." Like everything was just so whatever. Let nature take its course. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I think that's the way it was back then. Like,
I feel like it too. Like there wasn't
it's almost a completely different world than what we know now.
absolutely it completely different.
8 tracks, man.
8 tracks. Let's see. She glumly explains to Doc that there is no Mr. Smith traveling with her. And she says something under her breath that she made a big mistake, which, okay, we can already see that she's an oversharer. A lot of oversharing on this show.
Well, she's looking for support.
Of course. Still feeling terribly creepy about this whole scene because you know what Doc's looking. Doc's not like, "I would love to be a stepdad." That's not what he's thinking. Like he's playing the long game.
I forget. Did Doc see her profile when he first approached her, or did she turn around and reveal the pregnancy?
that's a
I feel
great
little like a
question.
look down. Like they were both kind of at the bar, and it was a look down.
So he walked in and then kind of got a little
I
extra.
think she walked up. I think I say bar, but I don't know. It probably wasn't a bar.
counter.
Maybe it was like a, yeah.
Well, it's funny. I mean, he did, Doc said himself he likes them large. Maybe this is what he.
I mean, I knew you were
Why
gonna.
did he say this?
What's
What's
that.
this all about?
I just knew. Throwaway line in episode 1 that you have brought up every episode since.
Because it's such a
throwaway line.
Just oh my god, it's just funny to me. All right, God bless you, Doc. Beverly, she assures her husband that they're going to have a fantastic vacation. I would imagine Russ is already a little pissed off. It's almost like somebody came up to him and basically said, like, "Hi, what are you famous for?" Like, just completely just takes her legs out.
Yeah.
And
he's been living that life.
Yeah, he has been living that life. How he'd enjoy it more if he were paying for it and not freeloading off of her success. So it's like you're chopping this guy's bees off.
Like Russ maybe isn't the breadwinner in the family, but he could be.
Yeah, he's certainly not a pool boy.
Right.
Like he's not some kept man.
Yeah.
What does he do though, you think?
Sales. Vacuum sales. I don't know. Something. Management.
Maybe.
I don't know. Something.
Yeah. I mean,
he probably works for Big Cigarettes.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Like a Mad Men type situation.
Yeah.
Advertising.
Yep.
She says in exchange for her doing one little lecture on Sunday, they've been given free cruise tickets. Again, not bad. Especially if it feeds her ego. It's not like she's hating it.
We'll get to it, but the princess line, bad investment there. Giving her free
horrible
for that massive turnout.
Thank you.
A lecture.
Thank you, all 6 of you, for my 13-minute lecture. Why would you call it a lecture? By definition, this is not a lecture. I think it's the
you have a ballroom. We've seen it.
It's the good acoustics, so everyone can hear.
You're gonna get splashed.
It's so dumb.
It was
Stop swimming. Stop swimming.
Or if you're gonna do it by the pool, everyone in the pool. Let's do it in the pool. Like one way or another, all in or all out. I agree. Do it in the dining room.
Anywhere. It's daytime.
They presented the whole thing kind of like as to like catch her off guard.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Like you get a free cruise, but you get the worst lecture setup ever. So
yeah.
But is this how? Now I wonder too with a cruise. Like, say you have a big celebrity on a cruise, wouldn't you do something to sort of sequester them or give them space that they need, just so they wouldn't be bothered?
But she says
no. I get that. I'm just curious, like how they would handle that.
My guess is that if you wanted to have a little more seclusion, the boat would be able to provide that for you.
Fair enough.
Roxy Blue, for example.
We've
had celebrities on this boat, who took great means to not be found.
That's right.
So,
That's right. That's a great point. I didn't think about that. But you're right, buddy, as well. She loved it. So it's not like it wasn't an issue for her. Like it just fed the ego. And I bet you it was one of these. Like the better she started to feel, this dude just went, you know what I mean? Like it was yin and yang.
This ain't the first time that Russ Blanchard got put in the corner.
No. That's why he's got white hair too. He's only 26.
34 years old.
Let's see. Russ says he's perfectly capable of paying for them to take a cruise. Of course you are, Russ. That doesn't entail her having to interact with her fan base, but she says she loves her work as she does him. All right, this gets a little weird right here. So he says, how much he'd love to make love to her right here, right now.
Like aggressive, like aggressive.
Yeah,
he knew it was going to happen. Though.
Yeah. He was saying that just so later he could say, "Well, you said no when I was trying to." That's all that was.
Yeah, Russ
like
Blanchard
giving somebody a reason to break up with you.
There.
Yeah. That's a passive aggressive move right there.
We all know.
I did like that they basically were like, Russ Blanchard has a boner because he was like, I either have to take a shower or take a walk. It was just like
Jesus, dude. Good Lord. How about you bring a jacket with you? You know what I mean? Just an umbrella, something, a book.
Let me borrow that
typewriter for a second.
You're gonna go for a walk. Like, I don't think that's a good idea. Just wander in the thing with wood. It's just
aft. You can be aft out there.
Aft. hello, and he was open
They'll
to
find
like
something.
meet. Yeah, so he was just going to be like, "Oh, hello, ma'am. Look at this.
Yeah.
Isn't this magnificent?"
Yeah, I
Something.
could have paid for this whole cruise myself.
He doesn't, and she's not going to even notice because she's so wrapped up in her own fame or whatever it is.
He has thought of everything.
I can understand his unhappiness. Not a fan of his approach, but I understand his unhappiness.
Yeah.
It's quite a blow to the ego, I would imagine.
His approach though was like really kind of just like out of like, I got nothing left, man.
Well, he was, but he went from like,
and there was just this lady that was just like, "Hi, I'm here."
It's funny because he went from like,
it's completely unrealistic, but
like what is it? He just was like, what is that word to something eyes to something eyes. Basically, she's kicking him in the bees. It's just amazing to me that you can. To me, if you're kicking him in the bees and you're like hurting his self-esteem and his ego, I don't know how that next move is like, well, I'm gonna put my bees on the table and just get some chick. Like it's a weird turnaround of emotions for me. I think it's odd, but
it's like Russ Blanchard was looking for any excuse.
He was ready to get on her like a werewolf. Good Lord.
Do you think
you better have a silver bullet, girl? Woo. I mean, he was gonna just.
Do you think he's an advice columnist? That's why
Secretly?
he's so mad. he's like the worst advice columnist. So.
Or he's sending in all
like
the letters.
They're like dueling columnists.
Yeah, but nobody asked him advice for anything.
Or maybe he wanted privacy. Like in this,
has that ever been
a busybody, so he just writes all the letters.
Columnist?
A male. I remember, Ann Landers, Dear Abby.
Why do I feel like that was a movie in the 90s?
What about a male?
Like a competing advice columnist.
Well, I mean, what's her name did that movie where she was like a dog therapist, remember?
Janine
Garofalo and Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
And then it was a Cyrano de Bergerac kind of thing.
But that's not the same. That's not the same thing.
No, you're talking about like Gift of the Magi, that sort of thing? I cut my hair to give you a brush. Are we talking about that? Moving on. I'm sorry.
Next scene.
Next scene. Here we are. We're at dinner now. Chef Borga. Can we get a consensus?
Dinner is great.
Is it Borga or is it Borgia? Can we get a consensus?
I'm saying Borga in my head, but he also was like doing the whole like fake Italian accent thing too. So like
that's what I was gonna say. His accent is so intermediate. Like
he's from Wisconsin.
It's like sometimes it's Italian, sometimes it's Spanish. It makes no sense at all.
Sometimes, so it's Madison.
Just like, oh, geez.
Well, I sort of figured that for this.
We didn't have like immigrants in 1977, really.
Well, it's weird on this because I just was like, oh, maybe.
Sorry, I mean, like modern day immigrants.
When I saw his,
we're all immigrants.
When I see his face, I was like, oh, maybe he's from New York. Like I'm from that Northeast area. I was like, oh, from Wisconsin. I'm like, wow, I read that wrong. I read that wrong. Speaking of Wisconsin, buddy, you are a chef. I've always looked for a time to bring this up. In my travels years ago, I was invited to somebody's house for dinner. I'll keep this brief. And they were making lasagna. So I go in the kitchen. They were from Wisconsin. I go in the kitchen and I say, can I help you? Is there anything I can do to help? Okay. They said, yeah, you can cut the Velveeta, slice the Velveeta. And I was like, okay. I thought it was for like maybe a weird cheese and crap. I didn't know, for a dip, something. No. This Velveeta was for the lasagna. And I was like, oh, for real? That goes in lasagna? And they're like, yeah, that's how we do it in Wisconsin. One thing, horribly disgusting, but the saltiest, oiliest thing you've ever had in your life. And number two, have you ever heard of such a thing?
No, I've never heard of such a thing.
Fair enough. It was an awful experience.
But
it was terrible, man. It's terrible.
Having spent 4 days in Wisconsin 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I can see how that could be a thing.
They just bored.
I mean, no, they just love the fuck
No,
out of
there's
cheese. And they
just
have a ton
cheese
of it.
everywhere.
Fair enough.
You have to
Their
find a
cheese
place to
curds are
put it.
good, man. Yeah. So it's like you have too much cheese and you don't have enough places to put it. You're good. You don't have anywhere to put it. They have an abundance of cheese.
Oh, so you have to
Everywhere
shove it in the
we went,
lasagna.
You gotta put it
Fried
everywhere,
cheese.
man.
Just
Yeah.
fried cheese,
Fried cheese,
everything.
cheese covered fried cheese, like stuffed cheese, fried covered cheese, cheese smothered free. Yeah. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome.
But putting the Velveeta in lasagna sounds intriguingly horrible.
I wanted to throw a flag like I'm an NFL ref. I was just so.
Maybe you got punked.
I would definitely have to try it just because.
The most subtle episode of Punked ever.
It was just Velveeta. It was just Velveeta. No other cheese.
That's it. That's the only cheese.
That's weird.
With like ground. Anyway, sorry. During dinner, Chef Borgia looks incensed as he spies on Captain Stubing, who's dousing the gourmet dinner with ketchup. It looked like they were lamb too. Like it was. I was like, why would you do that?
Yeah, those are lamb chops.
Lamb chops. Are you crazy?
Yeah,
I love those things.
The little hat. That
I love those things. And he's
and like that was a fancy serving boat for ketchup.
Why would there be bottles of ketchup at the captain's table for schmancy dinner where you need a short jacket? Short jacket.
It wasn't a bottle.
No ketchup.
It was a boat.
You're right.
Like
you're right.
Whole ladle thing.
Fancy.
You're right.
You would use for like a nice sauce.
Oh, because it looks like you would serve that dish with like onion rings. You know what I mean? Something you would like serve.
I mean, to be fair, why would you have
like onion rings and mint jelly?
Yeah. Like,
why would you have half the stuff they had at the table? Because this is by far the most eating we actually get to see.
Yeah.
At the
Remember Radar?
Usually
last
there's
week Radar.
So
they showed Radar. They showed Radar eat last meal, and literally what he was eat after he'd been stuck in a room for like 72 hours with only a drugged steak to eat.
It's like a week.
He's eating like hot liquid. Yeah, he's just eating hot liquid.
Yeah.
So anything above hot liquid is like
everything. Every other meal ends in a fight.
Yeah, or somebody leaving, or somebody being told to go to their room.
Although actually, to be fair, somebody did leave in this one too. So, but yeah,
I forgot to watch. Remember the one episode they said, no, you have to sit boy, girl, boy, girl. I've always meant to see that if that holds true, but
so far, just off today's memory, yes.
Yeah.
Because it's later on, it's Eva Gabor, Leslie Nielsen.
Good call. Oh, and then Beverly and Russ, they enter the dining room and run into another couple waiting to be seated. The wife in that couple talks to Beverly how much she loves her column, which Russ is probably just like,
again,
throw these people off the, like, enough of these, and that her goal was that while on this cruise is to meet lots of new people.
Real subtle.
Like,
yeah.
Not desperate at all.
Yeah.
No, not like
the husband doesn't even get to talk.
No
SAG card for that guy.
I get that. It is awkward being around like a celebrity. Like I've been around a few celebrities and it doesn't always go well for me because I don't know what to say. Right. And it's just a weird situation, right? That puts you in, instead of just saying, hey, you want to like, I don't even know.
But that woman kind of started it.
Oh, she started it and she just like allowed it to go.
So I don't think that was awkward. If anything, I think it was rude.
That's my point. It wasn't even like an acceptable way to handle yourself with let alone a celebrity. You don't just like, because I would hate some couple walking up to my wife and I going, oh, we're big fans of the Love Boat Project. I'm like, I know. We're here to meet new people. That's where I cut it off. You just made a huge mistake, ma'am.
Yeah.
Anyway, ma'am. Beverly perks up because the ego's getting, she's taking those shots of the ego. Asked Russ if he would be interested in dining with a couple, and he graciously.
What's he gonna say?
What's he gonna say? because he looks like if he says no, he looks like a jerk.
Right, he
right
looks
off
like
the
a jerk.
bat.
Like, you people look annoying. This husband hasn't even spoken yet.
Especially if you ask somebody that question in public, that's when they got you. Like, you don't even give me the option of giving you another answer, but yes, because then it's just all the negativity and all
That's
these
where you have to
fans
fake pass out.
just turn around and walk away. That's
You
what
should
I
just
would
be
do.
like, no. Just like, no, you seem awful.
Nope.
I mean, they did not look like a really fun couple to hang out with.
No.
No, it was just a bunch of seagulls like chirping away at this lady for free advice. You know, I've been like, go to the Patreon site, guys. We're not giving this away for free.
Yeah,
but maybe I have to rescind my earlier criticism of the Princess Cruise Line with this lecture. It seems like a lot of these people are on this thing for her.
What, did they just bail out? Well, they didn't come to the lecture because they got their free question before the lecture. Right. So they got off in Mottles.
But the princess doesn't care. They got their money.
Yeah, we're good. The PP's fine. We got our money. Yeah. Cha-ching.
Exactly.
We're back to Jeff Smith now. Jeff Smith talking to Julie about his string of... He's so confused. His failed relationships, his imminent divorce, and his messed up life.
That whole makeout scene was super weird.
Hell bad.
They just made out, and then like 10 seconds later, after they're done, she's like, "Yeah, I mean,
like what? Yeah. How bad a kiss does it have to be for both of you to basically be like, nope, not happening?
Like a mutually agreed upon, nah."
But I think Julie's so nuts. If he would have been like, that was magic, right? She would have been like, oh, yeah. You know, Julie's like, she's not.
Oh, no, for sure.
Yeah. You know? So that Julie was him going, nah, girl. You know why? Because I'm still married. That's probably
like Julie was bummed. Julie was bummed out.
Yeah.
And
she was all in. Let me spin this to make it look. Yeah. Heart of gold, Julie.
But like, does he have did he flick her in the teeth? Like what happened?
I don't know what happened. He bitter gum, something.
Yeah, he grabbed her bony hips and was like, "Ugh."
He's got braces,
something. Or she has an extra row of teeth like a shark, or there's something weird with Julie, or she has old lady breath. That's a thing. That's a thing.
You think maybe? Oh, you know what it is?
She's bow-legged.
Maybe she's one of those people who doesn't like smokers because he does smoke a pipe.
Who smokes a pipe, though? Can I talk about that? It just seems like such a dated thing. You never.
I mean, 77
nowadays. Yeah, but nowadays,
a young man. It's not a young man.
No, but now you never see
my grandfather. My grandfather
right.
smoked a pipe.
So did mine.
Exactly. Same here.
Yeah.
Same here. But now,
Robert Urich is 30 in here.
Is it because you can't smoke inside? Is that part of it? Because a pipe is not like a quick smoke.
You can smoke inside. We just saw Doc with 90 cigarettes, like Elmer Fudd last week.
No, I'm saying, is that why we don't see it nowadays?
Nowadays.
Because of the timing. Because I'm not a big cigar guy. Cigars take forever to smoke too. And I wonder.
I've never seen a young person smoke a pipe. Unless you count a snowman who is not.
Old. Depends what's in their pipe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
You know?
Yeah, I get
it. But
all right,
where are the old ladies now to hit you?
I think the smoking of the pipe is very much like it's like a stationary thing, right?
Sign of the times.
You're sitting down, your chair, you got your book, you're reading something or something like that, and you get your pipe.
It's like a glass of. It's like a
not
glass
like an on the go. It's not something that's made for our on the go society.
Yeah, you're not walking outside the bar to load up your pipe.
Light up a pipe.
I'll be right back. Take 2 pulls off my pipe.
I like to smoke a pipe while I'm having. Yeah, it's nuts.
all this effort.
Step outside.
After this failed smooch, which we still not sure why it failed. She tells him. She gets the sense that his heart isn't really into it. And Jeff assures her, what if Jeff would have been like I said, be like, no, girl, I'm 1,000% into it.
Trying really hard.
Oh, can we get married tomorrow? I live in LA. You know what I mean? Here's my I have a cat named Herb. Yeah,
who takes Eric care? Probably tasted Buddy Stanfield on her still and was just like,
does Julie leave Herb 10 days at a time? Who's taking care of Herb?
Oh, well, listen. There's a reason that a lot of us who enjoyed the social life in our younger days had cats, is because you can let those cats go. You can let those cats go
Herb
for
is
a long
Herb
time
is
on
a
their
cat.
Yeah, it's her cat,
Yeah.
Herb. But like 10 days? Isn't that pushing it a little bit?
Yeah, 10's a lot, but you have somebody check in like twice and you're fine.
Imagine if Herb is only one of her like 28 cats. Just meow, meow.
Julie's a
Just- she's
hoarder.
crazy.
Yeah.
She does give off hoarder vibes.
I love her. I love her. She's got a heart of gold. I love her.
She's struggling. She's had a bad little run here lately.
She's had a
Her
bad.
apartment back at home is a mess.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
I'd love to see that.
Oh,
Some moldy dishes.
if they
We
did
need
like a
season
cribs,
3 bottle episode where it's just the apartments that they
like
live
a
in.
cribs. Julie, Isaac. That'd be funny.
I have
Here's
newspaper
a
clipping
question I
photos
had
of
for
all
you
my
guys.
ex-boyfriends.
Yeah, here you go. She's one, and then she throws it
They're all
out looking crazy, and they're just horrible,
guys-
the worst trash can
Have
ever.
you guys ever looked into seeing if there was like possible spin-off shows from the Love Boat?
Well, there was that one we talked about with the Robert Urich. Other than that, I don't know. I mean,
you could have
maybe
made a
we'll
Julie.
see it
You could have made a
little
Julie
more.
show.
Wow,
Well, no, but
Yeah.
you could have made a Julie show.
it'd have been a wild show.
I hope I made a joke about this, but I hope
Hmm.
we have not seen the best of Julie. It's too
I don't think
soon.
we've seen the best of Julie. It's season 1. I think she's
Okay.
still playing it safe. I think it gets.
Okay.
Because think about it, right? Let's talk about like a season 2 thing. They've had a whole season to sort of like get comfortable in their roles and their characters, kind of stretch their legs a little bit. So I feel like season 2, season 3, we're really going to see that growth in the character. Before
I just think it's wild that they had her hook up with a guy who leaves the boat with his wife's baby.
Yeah,
horrible storyline, by the way.
It's just like
Yeah,
You
that's like
really
West
bad.
Philly stuff.
It's just basically Jeff assures her that while she's a fantastic gal, he's still hopelessly hung up on his wife, Gail. So dumb. It's so dumb. Like, I'm Jeff Smith. I'm looking for Gail Smith, and Gail, who Jeff Smith. It's just okay. It's just it just bothers me.
I just don't
lazy
care.
The whole-
storytelling.
I just
I don't
the
give two
whole
crap.
idea.
I don't care.
of-
Live happily ever after, but I don't really want to hear about it.
I just don't care about this storyline
No, it
at
sucks.
all. They gave me
Like,
no
why
reason
would
to care.
why would you get on a cruise
Yes.
Pregnant.
you were about to
You're about to give birth.
Yeah.
Unless her dream was to have her baby in Mexico. That's the only thing I
So-
came up with because I
Maybe.
thought that too.
Maybe, but that's
That's wacky.
pretty
It doesn't even make any sense.
advantageous.
Right.
So this is our 10th episode. So ostensibly we've had 30 storylines. We've had a few of these where people shouldn't go on for what we consider personal reasons, like the woman who got stood up at the altar.
yeah.
Like she went on the cruise. We thought that was an odd choice.
The woman
but
who
she
got
ended up,
raped.
Just cried.
she ended up, the the person who was in a wheelchair with a debilitating injury who goes on the cruise.
Still don't
And
know
then
what the
this
injury was.
woman who never talks to anyone else on the boat except Doc. Almost like Doc's a ghost or something. What was she going to do if Doc didn't come down those steps?
I
She
think
was
in
just
the
by herself. No one would have known she was having a baby.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe in the maybe
Figure
like
it out.
mid to late 70s medicine, maybe people thought it was contagious. They were like, don't let that lady touch me.
like
I don't want
chickenpox.
one of those things. Just just like no, lack of information. No, it is odd though to get on a boat, number one, that late in a pregnancy. Let's just stop it right there. That's just makes no by yourself.
Yeah.
Not even like
By
a buddy
yourself.
with you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're dumb. You're dumb. It's just dumb. The
And
whole thing
I'm
is
going to
dumb.
assume, like, because they would have said it, right? They would have said, "Oh my God, me and my husband booked this trip a year ago." They didn't say that, which
Right.
means
Nothing.
he made a
No.
She
conscious
booked it.
He didn't even know she was pregnant.
Right. Which again gets back to the point of how much does this thing cost?
Dude,
She just decides on a whim to.
she was gonna sell
is
that
this her
baby.
baby moon? You're not supposed to have your baby moon like 10 minutes before you go into labor.
Well, you're not supposed to go on a baby moon by yourself. The whole point is wait here. See now I'm
no one
thinking,
has any friends on this boat.
the thing is, nobody knows how far along she is more than she knows how far along she is. right? So we can just use a certain amount of reasonable logic to sort of deduct that she knew she was like about to give birth when she got on the boat, right? So why would she get on the boat? The only thing, again, I can figure is maybe she was going to put the child up for adoption in Mexico. Why the hell else would she go to Mexico? You know what I mean?
Wow.
I don't know what else I can't come up
That's
with any other logical thing.
They
Makes
don't
no
even
sense.
like give it. They don't, and this is the same thing that happened with the tennis player in the wheelchair. They don't even give it a sentence of attempted explanation.
Nope. They just
No
like,
one
here,
even
just
says,
suspend all
"Why
your
are you
disbelief.
here?" Like,
But we're not going to give you a reason.
Where are the old
Yeah.
sisters now? They should
They
be
should
like,
have
you should be on this
smacked
boat.
the-
Smack her with a newspaper. or
well, because she's a single, an
And
unescorted
you know what?
woman.
You know what?
Hmm.
That's why we're here.
Calling people
That's
out.
a great point, buddy. That's a great point. Look at you steering the ship, getting us back on course. I like that. Oh, Gail is
Figure
dining.
this out.
We're going to figure this crap out. All right, Gail, let's get back to this. Gail is dining with Doc Gopher and Isaac, which they somehow get on this whole thing about blurting out name suggestions, which is kind of like a ha ha ha, but to keep going. It's a little
Yeah,
weird.
that was
Like, it was kind of cool, funny at first, but I was like,
yeah.
Yeah,
so
it was just, it was heavy, a little heavy-handed.
it's a little heavy-handed.
Can I just interject here?
Of course.
The whole staff interacting with the guests thing, being a hospitality professional myself, I'm just, I don't know how things were back in 1977 on a cruise ship. The whole interaction between the workers and the guests is a little odd.
It's too much, right? It's too much. Like there has to be a line.
Well,
like
they also don't
Is it
spread
a
it
perk?
around.
Is it like a perk?
But it's
hey,
very
Rock,
must
hey,
be.
go-
It's very
go for it.
focused.
Yeah.
Like there are 600 people on this ship, and each staff member has basically tied themselves to one person.
Yeah, they're all.
Well, here's the thing
There's
too.
594
Which I think
people.
if it's good, if that's
Unattended.
good, that's awesome.
Here, you got me thinking on this too. Is now okay? Say like a person like an Isaac, right? Let's take an Isaac for an example.
Yeah.
No, any crew member. So they're working a full day, and then when their day is done, they have to put on a short jacket and come to dinner and hang out with guests all night. Like, do they ever have? It's almost like they have no free time. Well, no, because
Or they have all free time.
right. So it's because the
Seems
Roxy
like they
Blue
have
thing.
all
So it's
free
like
time.
he had time then.
I think it's
So
a very
is this what they choose?
I think it's a very on-call situation.
But you've seen Julie
Because,
just
to be honest,
yeah.
Doc went from pretty much not doing anything to delivering a baby.
Was he
you know?
drinking? Was he drinking? I mean, I'm sure he was, but I didn't see him.
At least they didn't put it on camera this time if he was.
And I didn't see him
Yeah.
swallow the pills this episode either, so who knows? And we don't know. Not that he, God only knows.
There actually wasn't a lot of drinking on this episode except for
No.
the one coming up.
No, there really wasn't.
Yeah.
Cheers.
We're
From Colin.
talking. No, it does look refreshing. Gopher suggests the name Jeff and contemplates how great. Oh, doesn't Jeff Smith really roll off? Isn't it beautiful? It's almost like a Robert Frost poem. Jeff Smith. That's a beautiful name. Beautiful name. 2 syllables.
2 roads
Jeff
traveled.
Just
One by Jeff Smith.
not even Jeffrey. No, go short. Now let's do one. Let's do one
Yeah.
syllable first name, one syllable last name. It's just, awful.
And at that point, they hadn't mentioned that there was a Jeff Smith, right? It was just Jeff.
Right.
Just Jeff.
Yep.
Gail gets, upset, flees the dining room. Doc races after her, finds her sobbing against the railing. She barely knows Doc, and this whole
Yeah.
let me comfort you by hugging you close and all this stuff. And
Hysterical pregnancy.
it's just run. Unless you need medical attention, this doctor's got stuff to do. Like, I don't know what. I am not. You are clearly a bummer. I don't want to. Obviously, you're a bummer.
You're bumming for 2.
I don't need to hear this. Come on. Yeah, she leans against him and she's sobbing about how Jeff Smith's the name of her soon-to-be ex-husband, and she's still in love with him, and he has no idea she's pregnant.
Yeah, she delivers all the exposition through tears, basically.
Yeah, checks all the I'm crazy boxes too. Like, oh, and I never told him. You know,
But
so
again, they don't give
I'm
you.
glad you said that.
They almost like they don't give you anything good. They just give you stuff to explain the other end of the story. Like it's a locket or something. And it's just like it doesn't actually make it interesting. So like, oh yeah, we figured out that Robert
Totally
Urich
not
and her.
interesting.
But it's just like
it's just Legos. Like,
It's
oh,
just
did
who
you know that this
cares?
goes
I
with
just
this?
didn't-
Like, oh, shut
I just
up.
never
go
cared
away.
at all about that.
Screw
all.
you, Jeff. It's just enough. Enough. And it was just insulting. It was insulting at the end of this to be like, ugh, this useless circle of a stupid storyline. Like, I'm done. Get off the boat. Get off the boat. Good
The
luck
whole
with both of you.
the whole story should have just been about the feud between the captain and the chef.
I mean,
I'd be
really,
fine with that.
really.
Well, throw in the Beverly one. You can throw in the Beverly and Russ one too. But
Oh
this
yeah,
is
that
the
was
third.
Yeah,
well,
flesh
because
it
then you
flesh
have
it
to
out
have
a little
Wilson
bit. You can get a little
go,
more.
But it's
But
almost
we'll get to the
like-
problems with that. We'll get to the problems with that ending too.
But it's almost like it was framed as 4 storylines. And as Mike and I have seen on many occasions, well, on 9 occasions other than this, there's usually the 2 that are, but there's usually the one that is just put on the pay no mind list. And I feel like this is sort of
It's like
par
a
for the
throwaway.
course. Maybe a little lower than
but
normal.
they work. But the funny thing is, a lot of the pay no mind ones are usually wacky comic relief.
Right. I don't
was
mind
just-
that.
This was an attempt and a miss.
It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
next day by the pool, Beverly apologizes to Russ for neglecting him early in the day. I put a pin in something you said earlier about Gopher and Beverly. Is now the time for your pin?
Yes. So, Beverly tells Russ that she's going to work on her book, which apparently didn't come up before. Russ is like, screw that. We're going to get some drinks. So he goes over to the bar and he orders a couple rum Collinses, which is why me and Buddy are drinking rum this evening. So he gets to the bar and it's Isaac and Gopher. And Gopher asks Mr. Blanchard if that's his wife, Beverly Blanchard. They were introduced in Act 1 to each other. And the only reason they do that is so Isaac then knows who it is. So when he catches him cheating, he knows who it is.
Oh, they were spoon feeding, weren't they? They were
Just
really
have
spoon
Gopher say,
feeding.
this is Mr. Blanchard. I think they messed up.
Yeah.
You didn't have to, you know what I mean? Like if you're a writer, it's not hard to connect those dots, but that's
That feels
such
like
a
a
weird
continuity
way.
error, a rare continuity error, but I was mad. I have it in all
Interesting.
caps.
I had a question about that scene too, because so he tips him, what was it, like $3?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, he tipped you $3, but he didn't pay for the drinks. Are the drinks not included? Like, is
We
it
have
not
seen
open
zero-
bar,
Good
Yeah.
question, buddy.
We think it's all,
inclusive?
we're operating under the fact that it's all inclusive. And,
That's what I would assume.
Yeah.
and
me
the other
too.
thing is too, these guys are even more all inclusive because we know they're on there for free because she's giving the lecture.
That's true.
So maybe
Everything's
that was a
off, generally.
joke that missed.
Maybe. Oh, good
But-
joke.
Yeah.
It is weird because you think
Yeah.
you would know, oh, hey, that's Beverly's and
Is
Beverly.
$3 a
party
bad
of
tip in
Beverly's.
1977 on 2 free drinks?
I thought about that too. I was like, what's $3 in 1977? I was like
I mean, $1 a drink is not terrible.
$8.
Yeah, like
Because I almost think 5's too much in my limited knowledge. 5 seems to me too much for that. 4
For
you
seems,
don't want
drinks?
to get one.
yeah, 5's like 4, but then 4, it's like, well, it's maybe 5 today that's a good one, but 5 still seems a bit rich for me.
For a tip or a drink?
No, for a tip on 2 drinks.
Oh, I
I
think
go
you give a
five. I
5
go
on a
five.
free
You go
drink.
five?
I go
On a free
five.
drink, that's a 5. yeah.
On a free drink.
Yeah.
You know what? If it's a free, you're absolutely right. Free drink 5. I agree. 2
Yep.
free drinks 5. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense.
Depends
Okay.
though. You hanging out there all night? You're just in there for a
Well,
drink.
he's trying to get his wife drunk. He's very clear about that.
Yeah,
So
'cause
you
he
tip
Are we, on a
early and
boat?
often.
Are we on a boat or are we at Oscars?
Well, I mean, we never paid $3 at Oscars for anything. So it's
Yeah, he wants to get her liquored up so he can mount her like a werewolf, as he
make
clearly
mad,
displayed.
passionate love.
And like the longer he doesn't get her, the higher his pants get in every scene, just like an inch at a time. He's
He's
giving
got
up
to
to
take
his
a
neck.
shower or a walk.
If this was part 2, he'd be nothing but pants. You would just see a belt at the top of his head.
So he's at the bar for what? 30 seconds. This
30
whole
seconds.
interaction is 30
Not
seconds.
even 30 seconds.
He goes back
Leggy.
over, and it is a housewife convention over there.
Everywhere.
Like these people just came streaming out to bother
A gaggle. Yeah, he waves the drink at her, and she didn't even notice.
No,
So he
she's
just
got an ego.
Oh,
He
she's
was
loving
like,
his
wait,
cruise.
he was really waving it.
He's
Too.
clearly the tallest person
He's
there.
ringing it
Like she
down.
knows. And he told her, "I'm going to get some drinks." So she was just like,
Right.
"Bye, whatever.
Man,
I'm going to
she
drink
just-
this." Ugh.
I have this phrase that I use with Michelle when she's around her family, especially when we didn't live close, and she
Right.
would see them, and I would call it Potter blindness because she would be so excited to see her family that she would just leave me by the side of the road. Basically, she would just run over and see her family. That's what this feels like. This woman has like fan blindness. It's just like as soon as she sees anyone paying attention to her and asking her a question, it's just Russ Blanchard, you're out.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Like,
I don't
So,
blame the guy.
no, I don't blame the guy. That's
No.
annoying.
I will say this: this storyline is what it is. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
They did a very good job of setting up like you can make the argument, Mike, like you did, that it probably jumped a little bit, but
Yeah.
ultimately it's like, here's one example, here's 2 examples, here's 3 examples.
Sure,
boom,
sure.
You know, so
It was a clearly thought out, like, because of this, thus that. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
especially
It's a
because they
lot.
seem very happy otherwise.
Yeah. Other than that.
Yeah.
Although we didn't see him really in another environment other than this until the end, but they were still kind of in that environment. I bet you she's a bee on wheels at home normally. This is
See,
nothing.
I disagree. I actually think
She's
I
Hungarian.
think she just has I think she's one of those people that like she likes her job and she doesn't see it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I agree with that.
Nice. That's a good way to do it right there. Because we're both Mike, so you can never go wrong by saying that. Nice.
Usually.
I disagree with both of you, Mike.
You
This would
disagree
be
with
terrible.
both of us.
It'll be the last time you're on this show.
He encounters a pretty young blonde named Peggy. Remarks what a popular wife he has, and Russ agrees and offers her Beverly's cocktail. Enter
kudos to Peggy.
Yeah.
Kudos to Peggy. And I know it's the 70s, but you're just literally taking strange booze from a guy you've never met. Good for you.
Yeah, good for you.
Good
Rolling
for
the
you.
dice
She seemed to
there.
be just
Nothing
kind
to
of
worry
freewheeling, though. She was just
Yeah.
kind of.
She was out on the
Yeah.
prowl. Like she knew
What's
what was up.
What's her story?
She was like, "What's the worst that can happen? You're gonna roofie me. I kind of want that to happen anyway. I'm
mean,
Peggy."
Her actions throughout the episode gave no indication she was worried about getting roofed.
Yeah, her virtue was not of the highest. Yeah, no, she was not doing things to prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Here comes the 2 elderly women. We're linking stories here. Here we go.
Yep.
2 elderly women who were notice Russ keeping company with this young woman who's not Beverly. Walk up and purse smack him. Love it.
Yep.
Just give me purse smacks every episode. I hope these guys run every one.
You know what, guys? Let's maybe give a chance to platonic friendship.
Maybe these guys are just old friends catching up over a couple rum Collins.
Can a man and a woman be friends?
I mean, if I had a nickel
Damn it.
for every time I met a friend over
Not
a
on the
rum
Love Boat.
Collins.
Not on the Love Boat.
Yep.
Do you say Tom Collins?
Rum Collins.
Rum Collins.
Not to be confused with Tom Collins.
Not to be confused with Tom Collins.
No, which according to my wife is just rum and sour mix. A little squirt of seltzer water.
Doesn't
So that's
sound
why
good.
Isaac was able to make those drinks so fast then.
Yeah, because he's not making those zombies. He's not making those crazy like 27
It
ingredient
took me
drinks.
20 seconds to read
didn't
the
even-
zombie ingredients.
Yeah.
He didn't
yeah.
even make the drink when he
Mm-mm.
gave it. They didn't show
Nope,
him making the
just
drink.
there.
He was
He
like,
just-
rum
they
Collins.
have-
Like, Mark, there it is.
They have 2 of every drink made already.
Just under the shelf, they're all pre-made.
Yeah.
Just imagine like a 6-hour-old pina colada. It's just like old, warm.
When's the last time
coconut
somebody
milk.
ordered a rum Collins? Like he's blowing dust off that.
Midori on the rocks, like just dust on it. There you
Rum
go.
floating in a man's hat.
Just awful.
Couple ice cubes. There you
Just,
go.
Our good friend Chef Borges above deck, tossing out the kitchen's entire ketchup supply. I thought this was hilarious. What a cool visual gag.
Lot of littering into the sea in this episode.
Well, I felt better.
I don't know if the whole
they weren't
intro with
broken.
the confetti into the ocean, into the bay, and then all the
yeah, that's true.
bottles. And
Yeah, but you send a message in
pre-Exxon
a.
LDs though, we didn't know.
But you,
I'm
but
not,
if somebody
what it
sends
is,
like
but-
a message in a bottle, it's the same thing. Some islander in the middle of nowhere is going to like go swimming and get a free full bottle of ketchup.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
bonus.
those are
Like,
glass. Those are glass bottles.
Yeah, those things aren't gonna-
Wasn't plastic. back
they're
then.
washing up all over the Pacific.
There's got to be a better way to throw out the ketchup, though. Like he should have just.
Why don't you just throw the whole box out
Right.
at,
Yeah, you
at
could
once?
dump the whole fucking.
Just the whole
thing.
box. Just
Yeah,
dump it. Like just get rid of
this
it.
classic
What was the deal
Borgia.
with like sneaking one off?
Yeah,
He
at the
wanted
end
to
there,
get
he's like-
caught.
it's classic Borgia.
Wanted to
He's gotta
get
be
caught.
dramatic
It's
about
like
it.
Oh, I hope the captain doesn't see me slowly throwing away, not even 2 at a time.
One at a
Come
time.
on, dude.
yeah,
The captain loves his ketchup, apparently.
he is weird.
You know,
though.
he's got like a
is-
GPS on that stuff.
And it's all spite ketchup. It's not even like he wants to eat it. Poor captain and his bottles of spite ketchup.
Plus, okay, so you're a scab, you're a fill-in cook. Now you're just throwing away
chef.
Yeah, sorry.
See? That's
You're
how the
just-
captain got in trouble.
All right, that's not how he got in trouble.
Well, he called him a short order cook.
Yeah.
That's
Same.
I told you I'm pro,
Stooping on this.
Fair enough.
but you shouldn't be throwing. You shouldn't be taking money away from the boat.
Well, plus, what if a guest? What if a guest wants ketchup? Yeah, all you're doing is hurting the
not
guest's
his
What if
experience.
I'm off the boat in a
He's a temporary
dinner or
worker.
Something.
I bet you it's not cheap. I bet you a case of glass bottled ketchup back then was not the cheapest thing in the world either.
No. $6.
Yeah. And
A pop.
$6 is like $600 now or something like that.
That's 2 tips for 2 rum Collinses.
Look at that. A new car costs $73. Chef Borgia says to the captain he can swim for his ketchup if he wants to disgrace his cooking.
Burn.
And then he sort of starts to talk about the challenge of creating food for hundreds of passengers every day. Captain, you know where it's going. Captain Steubing saying, well, it's much more complicated. I was going to be like Freaky Friday. What if we switched
Great.
places?
That would have been great.
That
Yeah.
would have been great for 30 minutes. And, and then you go back.
They had like jumped right into it too. They were like,
Yeah.
they were already like rolling out dough and
Well,
whatever else.
we haven't
peeled
even
potatoes and shit.
gotten to that yet because he didn't even ask for the
yeah.
chocolate souffle or anything. My thing with this is,
All right.
how-
I'm getting
how-
ahead. I'm getting
How are
ahead.
they not just after a certain amount? Wouldn't the chef have you known chefs coming up that will? I've heard stories about chefs throwing things or being. Wouldn't the chef have taken a swing at Steubing at this point?
A little early in the dispute. Also, we don't really know their backstory. So
But his guy's presented to be sort of an Italian, fiery, big egoed
true
man
true.
of Southern European descent. Let's say that. I just feel like his character, he would have smacked Steubing.
But also, he has taken the job.
Yeah.
So
Temporary job.
I
too.
think he's a drama
yeah,
queen.
I mean, he's definitely a drama queen.
Yeah.
For sure.
You can't
I'm
lasso
sure,
this
like-
Mustang. I'll tell you
I don't
that.
think he's gonna fight.
Um,
And also, Steubing's a Navy man. You don't fight. Like he'd kick the crap out of Borgia.
Maybe that's
I don't know.
maybe they were in the Navy together.
Like Borgia's going to stab this guy. Borgia's not going to
Maybe
like get out of
Borgia.
breath.
Well, is Borgia from Italy? He's got that fake ass Italian accent. I feel like
Sometimes he's from Italy.
Wisconsin. He's from Wisconsin. He's in the Little Italy region of Wisconsin.
You know,
It's by Sheboygan.
maybe they were in the Navy
Um,
together.
Hey, Bicker. See, we switched. Julie's hanging out in the ship's casino.
Hold on.
Whoa. What did
You
I
missed a
forget?
staff member, a new staff member. Steubing
Oh,
tries
I
to
did.
put his ketchup back. and
Who
it's
was
too
that guy?
heavy. And so Alvin walks by
I
and
missed
gets the
name.
job.
yeah.
I
And
did see
Alvin
Alvin.
has a very nice James Brolin in Pee-wee's Big Adventure-esque beard.
I did remember. He didn't look like a crew member.
No,
Like he
no
looked
words.
like a cleanup guy for like Ringling Brothers back in the day. He didn't look like
Or
a.
the 1978 Cubs.
He was like Captain's like,
yeah.
go, you take this below because that's where
Yeah.
you belong.
Yeah.
No lines for Alvin either, but
No.
there's another
Nice
staff member. So
5
that's our
second
staff
spot.
member of you.
I like it. Thank you. Julie's hanging out in the casino with Jeff, plays one of the slot machines. She urges him to do something. Do something with the wife situation.
Make
If
a
that's what he
move, Jeff.
wants. He's just grumbling how he burnt the bridge and she won't forgive him. And walk away from the slot machine. Seconds later, enter Gail with Doc, plays the same slot machine and wins a jackpot on the first try.
Who
But then I'm like,
cares?
Who
cares?
cares? She's about to give. What are we doing? What?
I just don't care.
I don't care. I don't care.
That
I
whole
don't care
scene
if you're.
was pointless.
I don't care. Like you could never.
It's
show
such a
them again.
boring storyline.
It's so
Yes.
dumb. It's a way. Do you know what? Just stop. Unplug the camera. Just
Also,
stop.
why is Julie still tailing this guy?
Because
You had the worst
because she's
on the
supportive
boat.
now. She's supportive.
and nuts.
And
Look.
You know
Don't
what?
forget the nuts
Maybe I'm
part.
too spiteful a person, but if I start making out with somebody and they're like, "This isn't gonna work, is it?" You're not. I'm not hanging out with you at the casino.
Oh, I would dig a hole and stick my head in it. There's no way I would ever talk. I would never be seen by that person again. I would get extensive plastic surgery. I would never.
You'd be crawling inside one of those ketchup bottles.
I'd be hanging in the shadows like that guy did last week. No way, man. I can't do that.
there's something about all the staff on the Love Boat that just are drawn to really negative and not healthy
I agree.
Yeah,
love situations.
So we're
it's
at
true.
There's some desperation there. There's some
I agree.
desperation.
Yeah,
There's-
and
we're-
again, as we've
there's
pointed,
all the time without the sea, and you know.
but as we've pointed out, these are 10-day cruises.
Right.
A lot of times they're horned up in day one.
Mhm.
It's not like
Yeah.
it's not like a 3-year tour
No,
that you're
exactly.
taking.
Or
you
are they
know?
going like? Are they going like 10 days on, 5 days off?
I
So
don't
the-
know.
The
Undefined.
only the only indication we've gotten was a couple weeks ago. The captain said, "I have a weekend plans to do
Yeah.
something or other." So our thought is, you do 10 days, have 4 off,
Something like that. Yeah.
then go back. So that's our working theory right
Mhm.
now, which can be proven wrong otherwise.
You
All right,
probably
let's
look
get-
that up.
So during dinner that evening, Beverly, again, it's Beverly Russ storyline. Beverly's regaling about other diners, about various stories, and Russ is just eating food. Just Russ is head down eating food. Beverly tells Captain that she'd sure love some chocolate souffle. That's a bit of a diva move to go. I know it's not on the menu, but I would love this super delicate dish. Like,
Why is she
have some
giving the
cake.
captain of the boat her dinner order?
because her ego is just being stroked
Yeah,
so
that was
much
weird.
that she feels
like-
like
There are waiters. We've seen them. Where's
wanted-
Where's Vince from last week?
she wanted the captain to get it. Like, come on. Ugh, no wonder this.
He was
Russ.
taking the orders though.
Yeah.
Russ
Well,
is-
he's a bit of, and maybe this is why he has that TV in his office. He kind of has like these housewife tendencies. Like he was really into Roxy Blue. Now he's really into this advice columnist. Like he's got some guilty pleasures that kind of come out.
Interesting.
Not captainly.
Captain summons Gopher and orders him to make a special request. Gopher returns that Chef Borges told him where he can shove his special dessert request, which made me laugh. Captain goes in the kitchen, confronts Borgia about this insubordination. He refuses to make the dessert.
Insubordination.
Insubordinating. I like that. Nice.
Good.
Stubing refers to him as and I would imagine this is a big insult in the chef community, as a short order cook. Like I would almost think that that's like saying to a comedian, like, you're just not funny. Like that would just be the worst thing you could say. Just kicking him in the
yeah.
pretty bad. So Borgia says, look, you better apologize, Captain, or it'll be the last meal that I'm cooking aboard this ship.
but
Yeah.
he asked
Yeah.
for an apology in writing.
In writing.
Because,
In writing.
because
be in
otherwise this plot will fall apart.
Well, unless you have Gopher call him on the phone and do the impression that he did.
Sure.
It's the only thing I can think of. He refuses. They go back. Souffle's a no-go back to Beverly. Beverly says it's fine. Looks over and Russ is gone. He walked away with old Peggy.
But the
Just
couple from the
Gone from
dinner
the
the night
dinner table.
before was like, you said goodbye to him, you psycho.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't
yeah.
remember?
Yeah. Talk about me. Like, good Lord. You just need, how about a little self-awareness? Isaac heads to the upper deck. Here we go. Just like you said about that scene, to deliver a drink, notices Russ and Peggy, and hastily sneaks back down the staircase. Like, physical acting by Isaac on this is
Yep.
he's
like, "Ooh."
yeah.
Well,
Isaac,
we'll find out. Like it's that, and then it's later. Like Russ Blanchard, he's not sneaking around.
or he's the worst
Not at
sneaker.
all.
He's the
Yeah,
worst.
he's the
Oh,
worst at
ever.
sneaking around. What
He
do you
doesn't even know what
poolside.
sneaking is.
He's like 10 feet from his wife.
You're right there.
He's
You're
like, "Hey,
within
what's
sight
this?"
line.
You know, would be a great
And then he's
spot
just
to
like
hook
up
up.
the stairwell.
Like, why don't you go to the
White
the starboard side of the ship? All you got to do is go
Who
right
is-
over there.
Who's Isaac bringing these like 8-ounce like cold beers to?
No,
That's true.
it's a softball team. It's a softball team. They're here around the corner.
But good point, buddy. They're not getting those beers. Like
No.
whoever is
Nope.
ordered the
Nobody's
beer.
getting those
It's
super
not
tiny
getting
and now
them.
warm beers. Yeah, just the worst.
I'm gonna tell
Awful.
you, when he came out that door and around the corner with those little beers,
Mhm.
I was like, oh, those look refreshing. I'd take one of
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
You know what kind of beer it was? We learned
Where's he
from other
going?
episodes. I bet you it was a Heineken.
You think
Remember
it's
it?
a
We
Heineken?
saw the
Oh, 'cause in the
cases of
beginning they
Heineken
have
being
the
loaded.
I was gonna
Heineken.
say Michelob Light.
Maybe. I remember Michelob back then had that gold foil.
Oh yeah,
That was always
best.
cool.
Best beer bottle
Maybe it's
ever.
Meister,
Cool.
maybe it's
Best
Meister
American
Brow.
beer bottle ever.
Meister Brow's big back around this time.
Oh yeah.
Brow was. So was Lowenbrow.
Schmitz.
Here's to good times.
Let it be Lowenbrow.
Isaac talks to Gopher about what he saw Russ kissing another woman. Gopher contorts his face, calls him a rotten creep. But here's Isaac's. Isaac doesn't know anything. Isaac says, well, it's Beverly's fault for neglecting her husband. Like, are you hiding under the bed in their room? Like, what?
Isaac, I said this a
What's
couple
up?
weeks ago with the Marie McCormick storyline. Isaac has a TV at the bar where he's watching the show because
Everybody.
he is always informed.
Like, how many? It's like that Game of Thrones. Like the birds told me. Like, what is going on? Like, the seagulls work for you, Isaac? They're
Maybe at
dropping
the
you
end of
note?
this whole thing, it's going to be Isaac with a snow globe. Like he's controlling all of this.
It's just crazy. And then Gopher's, I don't know what to do. You guys are such busybodies.
Just mind your
if he should
business. Do something
just
else on the
leave
boat.
it. And
Yeah,
Isaac's
go do
like,
your job.
right.
Go purser.
Could be a
What-
purser,
yeah.
Gopher. Isaac chuckles and says, like, it's a problem for dear Beverly. Oh, foreshadowing. Here we go, Jeff again. Who cares? He's wandering around smoking a pipe. We talked about how weird the pipe thing was.
I don't
even
like
care.
seeing Robert
even
Urich
care.
this like sad. set.
No, you should be taking down perps. Come on, Spencer for hire. What's going on here, man? Like this, we could get any actor to do this. Why is he doing this?
Well, this is
This
what
is
we
just a
always talk
dumb
about,
rule.
right? Where it's like we don't
the
know if
opposite
they
story.
write these things. Well, there's that.
Yeah,
But then it's also like we don't know if they write these parts way in advance and just whoever's available that week. Or to your point, yeah, maybe Robert Urich's like, you know what? I've been on Vegas. I've been on SWAT. Let
I
me
need something else. I need to
let me
lighten
be
it up.
boring as hell for an
Was he
entire hour.
on those shows before this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
SWAT, yes. I
SWAT
don't know
was a
about
big
Vegas, but yeah.
yeah, he was on Vegas before that too
Okay.
as well.
So yeah. So
Well, here's and the thing with this could have been Gary Bergdorf in this role. It could have been anybody in this role. It's not a physically dependent. Maybe that'd be a weird combo, but you didn't need this guy in this role. Like, I don't understand why are we wasting our bullet? What are we taking a gun and we're just throwing away all our Robert Urich bullets, just throwing them away. We don't even need them. Like, this is not.
well, that's why now I'm really curious when he comes back
to see if they really try to go the
Right
complete
the
opposite.
ship.
Because you're right. He should be taking down boat perps. You're absolutely right.
Heck
So-
yeah. He's Robert frickin' Yeri Spencer for hire. Spencer with 2 S's, by the way.
More like Spencer for tired.
No, I was. Okay,
What-
sorry, I
what
just wanted to see. Oh, that's funny. She saw, back to Gail. Ugh, who cares? She's sobbing. She thought she just smelled his tobacco pipe just now, and then
And the baby kicked, which is
the
great.
baby-
Let's make sure we
Yeah,
really get a
right.
good inhale of that tobacco for the baby.
yeah,
Gail.
get it all in your Gail.
They just
The
keep, they
baby's
just
trying to
keep
kick you
missing
out,
each other.
man.
And Doc urges her to call Jeff and inform him that he's going to be a dad. Boom.
Hold on. I wrote this quote
Yes,
down
sir.
because I thought it was pretty good. Doc's like, you got a whole jackpot of quarters. Why don't you put some into a phone? Way to go,
That was
Doc.
good. That was pretty
Truth
good.
bomb for Doc.
Yeah. That was pretty
Doc
good.
dropping knowledge. Doc just cutting right to the
Doc's
bone.
just like,
I wish,
didn't know you were
that
pregnant
they had
when I
like,
ran into
shown-
you. Could you
I
please
wish
go
they'd
away?
shown the payphone.
Yes.
Yeah. The whole time Doc's just like,
Her like cut to her like on the phone.
but Doc's like, Gail, just, ballpark. Like, what are we talking? How long are you going to be out of commission for? We talking 3 months? We talking 4 months? Like what? I just need to know how many 10-day cruises until we can, spend time together with Doc. Like, I just need a ballpark. It's just weird. The whole thing's still creepy to me.
It's so creepy.
Beverly's delivering a lecture to her many fans. I would love to go back and get a count. I should have done that. Gopher notices Russ once again. Yeah, like you said, Russ doesn't give 2 craps, man.
No.
He's within like what?
Yeah, he's
with
like up on
Peggy.
the balcony.
Yeah,
Look,
he's like
here's
overlooking
the
him
thing.
like
He's
Sting used to
watching
watch
them.
matches
He's
in
watching.
WCW. He's in the
Wait,
rafters.
So here's the thing. Peggy has her own room, you would assume. Russ, if this lecture is between 2 and 3,
Yeah.
you got your own room. You know what maybe is not as inconspicuous? It's just the deck right above your wife's lecture.
Anyway, how about just the other side of the ship?
Also,
go to the
you know
other
what?
side.
I get that it's the Love Boat, but you're making out like you're teenagers. Like, I'm trying to enjoy myself in the pool or getting a self-help lecture, one or the other, or both.
I just can't imagine a man, I don't know how old he is, just wants that. Yeah, that's what he wants to do. He wants to
He's an
make out
exhibitionist.
with some girl. Yeah, that'll
This is
check that box.
Yeah, this is a
Yay.
sliver situation. He's into it. He's
And
into
this-
the voyeurism of it.
And Peggy's just all about the making out. And you're like, oh, great. I get to
Peggy's
make out
like-
with Peggy again.
Peggy's any porn
Wonderful.
store. I mean, yeah.
Oh, just
And good for Peggy, by the way.
if that's
So
what she
is-
came on the ship to
is,
smooch, she checked that box too.
Yep.
Is our point of view of the 2 old sisters just go
Oh,
around smacking everyone
it's a good point.
their purses?
Maybe.
Maybe
They should have
Maybe.
climbed up the ladder to get to that deck and beat the hell out of Peggy. So,
That's
oh,
funny.
Wrecker.
But they never smacked a woman. It was always the guy,
Yeah.
which
They
is
didn't
interesting
smack-
too.
Well, who
She
did they
was the
call
floozy.
sex fiend at the end? Was it
Doc.
Peggy or was it Doc?
Doc,
Doc.
because he was with
Doc's
Peggy.
a sex fiend.
Yeah.
And that's when she was like, that, I don't know. We'll get to that, I guess.
Yeah.
Gopher decides to ask Beverly for advice about a witty and charming friend who isn't paying enough attention to her husband. Good Lord, you're a busybody. Who's reacting all the time she's devoting to building a successful career. Beverly says that if this friend has the audacity to spend time away from her husband, she needs to deal with it or to suck it up when he turns to another woman for attention.
Which, by the
then-
way, that's terrible.
The
advice.
worst advice. Like, who
That's
the hell is
terrible
listening to
advice.
you, lady?
Here, how about you have a conversation first?
It should be
Pretty
called.
bad.
Yeah.
It should be called Dear Beverly, who has no self-esteem. That's what it should
Yeah.
be called.
And apparently has no peripheral vision because only now does she realize that her husband is scoring up stuff.
Just right.
Yeah. Look up.
That's just terrible. Julie pleads with Captain Steubing, swallows pride, and apologizes to Chef Borgia. Steubing refuses and says he can handle a kitchen worker strike. Here we go. Enter comedy.
This is funny.
It's funny. It's funny.
This is funny. This is objectively funny.
It's funny because it's just they're not doing anything. They're doing everything, but they're not doing anything.
So bad. They're not going crazy with it. It is
it's just
so
big
good.
things of dough and just
it is
water.
Grover's putting the potato peels into the soup kettle.
Yeah, it's
it's where the garbage goes.
It's all great.
Doc killed a fish. Like it's great. It's
the director was just like, have fun with this. Have fun with this gang. And it was great.
And that kitchen,
it's tight.
If they're serving 600 people a night out of that kitchen,
everyone gets a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I don't blame Antonio Borga for walking off.
They have a doctor.
They have a doctor cooking.
Well, the thing is, those weren't pots and pans he was bringing in. He was bringing in like a kitchen extension to make this thing a little bigger or something.
Oh my God. It was like, I've worked in smaller kitchens in Philly basements before.
A few seconds later, Chef Borgia enters the kitchen looking delighted. Captain Steubing says he assumes he's here to apologize. Chef Borgia says, in fact, he came to receive an apology. Captain storms out. Chef informs the crew that, hey, if they want him to return to the job, he's going to need that apology in writing. You can see the light bulbs going off. You see the light. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Scene. Next scene, Julie's handing Chef Borgia a written apology. Like, wow, we didn't even have anything in between. Forged with the captain's signature. He grins and said he's more than happy to return to the kitchen. Same time. So they were like synchronized watches. Isaac hands Captain Steubing a written apology forged with Chef Borgia's signature.
It's like a Three's Company plot.
It is.
Basically.
It is.
Yeah. Oh, and
They all see each other, but they're like, no one can say anything. Are they going to? Yeah. Oh, Russ. Back to Russ enters his cabin. Beverly's typing up her column. She explains that she's in the process of writing to her fans about how she's going to be out of commission for a while. I thought as soon as she said that he was just going to leap on her and just like, because that's what this whole thing was about.
So this ending is nonsense, right?
It is nonsense. Thank you.
So
it is.
He gets away with cheating. They never even have to talk about it.
She says, "Don't tell me."
No, she said,
"I don't want to hear the details."
She literally says, "Like, don't confess, don't ever confess."
Oof.
And then it's the exact same way that the Richard Mulligan Loretta Swit ended.
Yes.
Just they reversed the sexes.
Yeah.
But like, he gets a free pass. She doesn't want to hear it. Like, she's not even mad. Everybody's cool.
I think she realizes it was her fault.
Yeah, all's well that ends well. It's too neat of an ending for the story. It's like, it's all wrapped up. Oh, okay. It's all wrapped up.
Very early too. We're still in like Act 3.
But it doesn't even there's no it's almost like the actions that happened were sort of empty because there was no repercussions for any of the actions.
Right. Like, so who didn't learn a lesson? Russ. The only lesson Russ Blanchard learned was take more cruises.
Don't pull your pants up so high. You're on camera. Good Lord, Russ. Chef Borgia's back in the kitchen. Steubing drops in, expresses his relief that everything's back to normal. Here we go. You know what's happening. Tells the chef it was big of him to apologize. Chef Borgia says, as far as he understands, he was the one who apologized to him in writing. They show each other the apology letters. Denying that they wrote the letters, Julie and Isaac declared that they're off to track down the forger, which kind of made me laugh.
Yeah.
Like, what a cool way to... Borgia yells at Captain Steubing for being in his kitchen. Again, the captain reminds him that the kitchen's part of the ship. He starts to stomp off, and then here comes the captain. Come on, Merrill.
He bites the bullet. He's the bigger man.
Decides that
he does.
He says this dumb feud is gone long enough. Yeah. He's got a ship to run. He can't. Come on, man. Apologizes to Julie and Isaac for been eavesdropping on the conversation. Yes,
but then that's it.
That's it.
They wrapped those two storylines basically up.
We're done. Now we
And
got
now
to
we're
deal with
stuck
this
with this
stupid,
boring ass pregnancy storyline.
This episode could have ended right here with this
Yeah.
happy grin. They could have hugged and
I
I'd
could have
been
watched
done.
the
Oh, but
end
there
of.
was a baby born on the ship.
Right.
And,
We could have watched the
could've.
end of that Andy Griffith movie.
A Deadly Ground movie or whatever it was. Gail tells Doc she tried. Let's just wrap up this stupid Smith storyline here. Gail tells Doc she tried calling Jeff, learned that he's currently on a work trip. Points out that checks out, giving that he's a travel agent. It's all starting to come together. Jeff tells Julie he's decided to contact Gail to tell her he wants to resume the marriage. She squeals and hugs him, but aren't they? They're kissing again.
Yeah.
And Gail notices the two of them through the window.
Yeah, it was a weird,
like,
kind
what?
of like congratulatory,
because Julie wanted to get on that thing. That's what's going
Yeah.
on.
She
she's
did, but
she's not a good friend. Like she's that girl that can't have a dude friend,
Or she's a
'cause
great
she's
friend.
just
maybe that's how. Like,
depending on circumstances.
I
Yes.
don't know. 1977. I don't know.
Uh,
I'd have to ask my father.
a few seconds later, she goes into labor. She's beginning to go into labor. She water broke. And
Funniest
Jeff,
line of the show, funniest line of the episode, I think, was so Robert Urich. They realize that they're both on the boat. So Robert Urich picks up Gail to go into the delivery room, which is funny because
He picks her up.
this boat is lousy with wheelchairs, but Robert Urich has to drag this pregnant woman in. But
unless you're a tennis star, they don't have a
right,
or you're Bill Bixby that
right. If you sprain a
your
knee,
knee.
you can get
Yeah.
tennis. Yeah. The best part is though. So Julie's like, "Can I help?" And Doc was like, "Forget it. I saw you make a salad." That made me laugh out loud.
That's
That
a
was
great line.
really good.
That's a great line. That's super funny.
Yeah.
And then I thought too, like I've had the I've been lucky enough to be in a room for 2 baby deliveries. And let me just say that is in no way a one-man job. There's a lot to man. There's a lot going on.
Well, there was a second person.
Wild. Who's the second?
That was also like
Robert Urich.
I've never been in the room for any baby delivery, but I'm assuming that had to be one of the most mellow baby deliveries of all time.
So Mike, when they show the shot, it's Gail on the table.
Right.
It's Robert Urich.
It's
Doc.
Yeah.
And then there's a fourth person masked up.
Is it Vince?
Well, I assumed it was Julie,
Unnamed.
which was really going to make me mad. It was an unnamed staff because that's the person who like dabs Doc's head at one point.
Yeah,
like so anybody could do that too. You know what I mean?
I assume they have a nurse on staff. I really thought it was going to be
an appearance.
Even so, you still
yes.
But I mean, I can suspend disbelief. But it's funny because before the next scene happens, I'm thinking in my head like the comedy of this doctor who we've sort of said this guy's not a doctor, all this time. Now it's on him. And can you imagine? It's one of those like, I'm going to walk on a baseball field. I've never, I maybe swung a bat as a kid, and first swing you hit a home run. Like,
but I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny, and this has happened a few times with us already. They kind of did the bit we did about is Doc a real doctor?
They totally did. The captain was sweating. It wasn't about like, I hope the baby's all right. It's like, I hope Doc doesn't like kill somebody.
Right. Like, is he a real doctor? This guy that we've been entrusting our medical care for? With,
the ending was funny.
It was
the payoff was pretty good.
Payoff was good. They're wondering if Doc is actually a real doctor, if he's ever delivered a baby. Steubing enters, also expressing anxiety about Doc's medical credentials. Just like you said, everything we thought. Inside the exam room, Doc urges Gail to push one last time. He announces it's a boy. The crew look very relieved. Pat, he's probably a real doctor.
How many people do you think were waiting at the bar for a drink and couldn't get one because Isaac's in the waiting room of the delivery room?
It
Well,
is. It is.
I would imagine they have a backup bartender. Like
I
Isaac's
think
not
so,
the only
but we
bartender.
never see a backup
never see
bartender
him.
ever.
Well, we saw like servers, right? Like there
Well,
were like
Vince.
You think
Vince.
there
Alvin?
were waiters.
Alvin.
Alvin, Vince.
The guy that comes
Alvin
from
Rollins.
behind, you know.
Well, up
Well,
until we
Jorge-
learned
Borga's there,
about
like inspecting make sure that all the little like chef
Yeah.
hats are on the lamb rack bones. And
up until
he's like,
up until last-
"Ooh," doesn't do anything. He's like, all right, good to go.
up until last week when we learned about deputy captain, I would have been worried about the boat just running into a reef or something, but at least we know that's safe.
In theory, the boat drives itself. Apparently,
It's all
is what we're
computers.
You just
I mean-
plug it into the computer.
Yeah.
So now we're wrapping up. It's that scene. So as this episode's passengers begin to depart, Doc runs into Peggy
Yep.
and says, "How is it that we didn't hook up?" Now, this was odd to me. So he ushers her to the side, and I'm thinking, this is like looking for a date outside of like the departing flights in an airport. Like, what? Why would you do this? It just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. You got a
Because
whole
Doc
new
just spent
crew
10
coming
days
in.
walking around with a pregnant woman. That's why.
He's all stressed out. I need
he's
to
back
release
up.
some stress.
Yeah.
Well, he's ready finally after the twins.
Right.
Maybe the
He
best
earned
thing is that Gail was pregnant, for his own
Yeah.
sake.
Also, Doc is kind of a creep. He has.
Yeah, he's creepy.
He's just trying to hook up with whoever.
He
It
just gets a
really-
little.
It kind of felt like, because I
He's
really
got
thought
some
for a
things going
second,
on there.
it was a course correction. They were like, okay, Doc's been too creepy. We got to uncreep him. And then
No.
this was clearly like, oh, don't worry about it, fans.
Yeah, don't worry, guys.
Doc's
He's still
still a
just as
creep.
creepy. Don't. Yeah, it was interesting.
He's grabbing a girl from the gum magazine section of the checkout
What is
line.
going on, dude? Good Lord. Here we see the two elderly Dear Beverly fans witness this and chide him for being a sex fiend.
Sex fiend, which was great. And then
Guilty
Peggy's
as
like,
charged.
oh, I wish I would have met you
There you go.
before.
Beverly and Russ thank Gopher for a fun cruise, and they go upon their merry way. Captain Stubing tells Chef Borgia he can sail with him any time, that he loved the chocolate souffle.
Why
Chef
are these guys
Borgia-
great friends now?
It's
Like,
just,
I understand you
Yeah.
they
can-
got to
have-
turn so far the
you
other
have
way.
reached a comfortable working environment. Why are you besties now?
You know what?
Well, 'cause it's almost
tension, and these problems, they bring people closer together.
But it's almost like I feel like the more realistic outcome would have been like, all right, let's just agree to disagree. I don't like you, you don't like me, but we have
Never
to work
step
together.
foot on my ship
Just-
again.
But
Right.
they need
Your
they
kitchen's
need to
inside
bring
my
him
ship.
back. They need to bring him back. He's gonna come back.
Well,
I don't know. We're
Chef
over.
Borga,
Oh,
Chef
no.
Borga is not. He's,
We're-
and I don't know this because I've seen every episode of Love Boat. He's coming back.
I hope so.
It's only
we're-
1977.
We're over. We're over chef returns
Yeah,
so
over chef
far. So I
returns.
don't know.
Do you
Chef
even have
Borgia.
Happy Days at 77?
Well, let me just say
Yeah.
this is at least this chef had a name. The first chef was
True.
unnamed chef. He didn't even they didn't even
Nameless
give him a name.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Chef Borgia beams at the compliment and jokes that ketchup was a key ingredient in the souffle.
Man,
Jeff,
this episode sponsored by Ketchup.
no kidding. Heinz and Hunt's, like all the cat soup,
Catsup.
spelled with a C and a K. Jeff tells Gail he's coming home so he can resume being her husband. I apologize, and start being a father to their son. They smooch while the crew is sort of like oohing and ahhing over the newborn. That is not a newborn. But then I was like,
That
well,
baby
there's
was
probably limited.
huge.
Yeah, there's
How
got to
many
be like
how many days were in between the birth and them leaving?
one or two. Not many.
Not that
Less
I
many.
than
don't
a
know.
week.
But Tanya
So I
noted that
would-
she was like, "That baby is gigantic."
Well, I think there's just a limited availability of actors, like around 1 month. Like there's not a big pool. But immediately I think of that bad guy in Bugs Bunny. Remember when he went as a baby?
Oh, Baby
that's where
Huey?
my brain goes. Yeah, the baby Huey. Gail thanks Doc for the safe delivery, while Jeff thanks Julie for being such a great marriage counselor. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Thanks for being so bad at kissing, Julie, that I went back to my wife. Also, you know what? They never got into what their original problems were, but you know what? Those problems have not
No, they
been solved.
did. He cheated on her.
Did they
He
actually
didn't
say
though.
that
He just said he
overtly?
left and then moved
Right.
in with
He
him.
said he shacked up with somebody
This
else.
is what I
That
have.
doesn't
Let's see.
necessarily mean cheating.
It
I think
didn't.
you're
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Probably
Fair enough.
right,
Fair
but-
enough. Fair enough. And that's it. And we
I
wrap.
mean, he's
We
whatever.
wrap.
I think Jeff's kind of a shitbag, but whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. He's travel agent. You know, I'm traveling all the time. Shit.
Point is, I don't think that's going to work out.
No, it's
There are
not
some
going to work out.
problems, unresolved problems that you're going to have to deal
Yeah.
with. Good for Jeff for going back and making a go of it, but
Or saying he
Yeah.
was going back to make a go of it. What's he going to do? The baby's right there. He's going to go,
Well,
nah, girl.
I mean, to be
Like,
fair,
jump off
And
the
then they
boat.
ended up like, oh my god, I can't believe we ended up on the same cruise
Yeah.
together.
Oh,
maybe
I
his
have to
whole
make-
plan. Maybe his whole plan was to hook up with Julie and stay with Julie, and then it was just such a bad kiss.
he got all wrapped up in smoking his pipes,
Yeah.
and he just lost track of time.
Maybe he has no taste buds because of the pipe smoking.
I don't have a sense of smell.
There
It's
you go.
quite possible.
I feel like
You-
Julie is not a good kisser.
We've only really seen her kiss one person, right? Did she
Yeah.
kiss? Oh, she kissed Buddy Stanfield too.
She did
So,
kiss Buddy Stanfield. Yeah, and that's it. That is that's a wrap for season 1, episode 10.
All right. So King of the Mountain. This is definitely not the best episode of Love Boat. This has one. I think I enjoyed the Borgia storyline more than I probably thought I would. It was
I agree.
stupid, but it was fun. Stupid. It was well executed. Stupid. And I really liked the kitchen scene. That was really funny. The Blanchard storyline was fine. They ended it kind of weird, and the third storyline, I think we all agree, kind of sucks. So this is definitely not better than the current champion. Still, episode 5.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you hit all the points that I was going to hit. Episode 5 is superior in every way imaginable. This one doesn't even come close. If we were talking Olympics, this is not even a bronze medal winning.
No,
episode.
and it really does highlight episode 5. The one thing I remember about it is we get further away, we're probably going to forget more of the specifics of it. But
Yeah.
the one thing I remember is it's probably the only one we've seen that had 3 quality storylines.
We loved
Yeah.
each. Yeah, I agree.
And this one.
Well, let me ask you then: was the strongest storyline in this episode on par with one of the storylines in our favorite episode so far?
I think you can make an argument that the Borgia storyline was one of the better wacky comic relief storylines that we've had.
100%.
So yes, that would have fit in. But
Gotcha. That makes sense. I 100% agree with you on that.
yep. Captain of the Week, Buddy, who did you think or what did you think was the best part of this episode?
Oh, easily the captain versus the Borga conflict there.
Yeah.
I think that. I mean, obviously for me, being the chef, I thought it was most intriguing. The other two were, well, I don't know. They were okay.
Yeah.
I thought they should have gotten a little bit more into that one. But
Yeah, they definitely wrapped up those other ones early, which was unnecessary.
I would have to say for me, if I had to pick, it would be the instead of picking an individual, because I would just go with Chef Borgia. I think the entire Chef Borgia storyline is really the hero of this episode, because without it, this would have been a really, really bad episode.
Might have been the worst episode. It
Right.
might have been the worst episode anyway.
Like
but
it
yeah.
kept it afloat. but
glad I
without
could be
that-
here.
Oh, there you go.
Mm,
So originally I was going to give it to Steubing, but since we're kind of focusing on the same storyline, I'm going to go to my second choice here. I'm going to give it to Russ Blanchard. I think that he. Well, here's the thing: Russ Blanchard didn't want to go on the cruise. Made his objections quite clear. Had to sit through a couple crappy dinners, and
he
then
did
was
say
like,
why too. It wasn't just like I don't want to go for the sake of not going.
Right.
He explained it. Yeah, I get that. Okay.
and then he was like, "Cool, free pass. I'm out of here." And then had 0 comeuppance at the end. So good for you, Russ Blanchard. You're the winner this week.
Russ Teflon Blanchard.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Plus,
He's got his-
he also gets to go on vacation for like 3 more weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he's not the breadwinner, which means he's a kept man. And
Yeah.
as we pointed out, dapper dresser. So
Very dapper.
Mike,
high-waisted
walk
man.
the plank this week. What's the worst thing?
The Smiths, all of the Smiths on this boat are the worst thing.
Yeah,
I don't even want to give it anymore. It's terrible. It's
Yeah.
terrible. Smiths in
Buddy?
general.
Yeah, I have to agree. She's kind of, I don't know. I thought her character was weak from the beginning, and the whole storyline was just kind of boring.
yeah. The misappropriation of Uric was really not.
And then like
criminal.
trying to tie them together
Yeah.
as like not like just kind of
I'm gonna
predictable.
I'm going to go with the never confess resolution for the Blanchard storyline. I think it's a lame way to do it, one, but the fact that they've now done it twice in 10
Oh,
episodes.
really?
Yeah, we had a
Yeah.
similar one earlier, just the genders were switched.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a cop out to the storyline. I'm not saying you have to get into it, but I'd almost rather you not know than this weird like I know, but if we never talk about it, it's a very 70s thing, right? Just bury
Like
it.
you needed this
Yeah,
to
I
move
guess, right.
on. Like it's a weird, like, no, you
Yeah.
don't. You could tell it's a very male driven, like that's a male driven story. No
Yeah.
woman's going, I'm
Yeah,
going to
don't tell me
smoke
about
that
it.
or rape that. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible. Yeah, I
So,
agree.
Yeah. So all right, that's our totals and our recap for this week.
All right, plugs. You can email us at theloveboatproject@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram, The Loveboat Project, at Loveboat Project on Twitter, The Loveboat Project on Facebook, The Loveboat Project on YouTube. New episodes set sail every other Monday. Any final words? Anything left to say before we hop off the boat? Nothing.
I
Go Birds.
Birds, that's true.
Go Birds.
I definitely think this was probably the biggest example of an episode that I liked even less the second time I watched.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put this one on your playlist.
It's funny because I go in with the
Damn.
expectation that I'm going to enjoy it. But this one,
Yeah, real
nothing I
snooze
can do.
fest. But next
We'll
week's
see.
Christmas.
That's right.
Oh,
Special
it's
episode
awesome.
coming.
I love Christmas episodes.
Hey, buddy, thank you so much for joining us, giving us that chef insight, and spending a couple hours with us talking about a 45-year-old TV show. So I really do
man.
appreciate your time.
Thank you
Mike?
guys for getting me into a 45-year-old TV show. I'm gonna go watch episode 5 now because I want to know what
It's fantastic.
your favorite episode is.
It's really, really good. Hey, Mike, thank you very much again.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time on the Love Boat Project.
Rudy Tooty, fresh and fruity.
We're